That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. Hello. Did you miss me because I wasn't here on Friday? I was too busy trying to make money. Well, I was too busy trying to rush and set up late on Friday at Herps in Slidell. And then somebody graciously driving down the road on Saturday in prime business time, right? Like 11:30, where the people that rushed in at 10 are coming back for the rebuy. And they ran into a fucking power pole. We had no power for an hour and a half. It was dark. People were cell phone shopping. I did a great sale in the middle of it, though, so I can't really be too pissed off about that. But then she had to come back on Sunday again and buy more when the lights were on. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing where I was like, oh, you got to really see these corn snakes. There's fucking 300 of them with no lights on them, and they're all in little cups, and your cell phone light sucks. And oh, man, I'm thinking if this was an NARBC, I don't know. I don't think they would have had that problem because this is like a down south problem. I don't know. It's the fact that we have drive-through daiquiri shops everywhere and fucking open container law says it's not an open container as long as there's no straw in it or that the straw has the paper still on top of the stem. So we'll get to that a little bit later when we're talking about alcohol. I'm trying to let a few of y'all stack in since we did roll in a minute early. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the sponsors because I know you guys are pretty much tired of hearing this death roll of wonderful people that have brought you the Bullshit podcast. So I'm going to add this to the stream, the Reptiles to You link. All right, reptiles2u.com. That's who I support in the shipping field, even though MorphMarket is Redline and my boy who's coming up the Friday before Christmas. What day is that? Like, I'm going to look on the calendar, like, the 23rd, I think. I'm going to have the Lone Star man and woman themselves, Earl Jones and Ren. I think we pretty much all know them two by now. They've like inserted themselves in every part of the reptile community, much like my guest here tonight has, even though he's very modest about it. Go to reptiles2u.com, ship with Debbie Price for the most responsible shipping team that I've ever worked with in my almost 30 years of shipping stuff. Well, that's a lie. 22 years of shipping stuff. Check them out. When you check out, hit in the coupon code BALL0922. You still have a couple weeks left. It's done at the end of the year. It gives you 20% off of the already reduced price on Reptiles to You. MorphMarket.com. I do not have a coupon code for you folks for this thing because you know why? You probably should pay more for it. It's doing a hell of a job for our industry. It's giving us a lot of really cool stuff. It's definitely inserting itself into the cutting edge genetic testing, the shipping tab. You do remember you don't have to ship with them to use them. Check it out. If you're not selling on MorphMarket right now, get your page set up. When you're buying snakes, message your clients. Okay. I know that we're not going to have that thing happen here today with Todd. So I'm going to jump over to my MorphMarket page and show you, since Todd's not going to really qualify for this tip that I've given many of you many times. This 98%, that lady really fucked me on that neutral review. I really swear one neutral review in 12 months and 2 in all time scars you that much when you have this many 5-star or, well, 4 and I don't even see how I have 4.5 stars. Ship and packaging, 4.5 stars. I use pillow stuffing for credit. What do you want me to do? Send them with a fucking stereo? Lullabies while they come to you in the mail. But this is the part. Reciprocated ratings. You guys need to use the MorphMarket system for your clients, okay? And if you're just buying, jump on here, buy on here, message on here. And when your vendor sends you a sold link, go rate him like they've rated me down here. And then you can go and rate them back. And that's what this rating is right here. Reciprocated ratings. Get in there and do it. I've done it all for everyone that's bought from me for at least the 90 days. When you don't do it, it has a little link right here to do it. I missed one. See, it says rate back. I click rate back. It says, bonk, this inquiry is too old to be rated. So unfortunately, I fucked that guy out of his great review, but he was a great customer. So thank you. So on to C-SERPENTS. Don't really have to dwell here. He's got enough work for everybody, right? We'll talk about him more after the new year. USARK. This is the big USARK show. Okay. Big USARK show with the man I'm about to bring on. So we're going to be spamming a lot of USARK stuff. I want all of you to be sure that you're spamming it when you go to shows, when you go to everything else. You just spam it everywhere you go. Just fucking spam it. Bravo Zulu. Check it out. Bravo Zulu had a fucking sense of humor. I'm going to dial this out. And she said, have fun with this. I don't know what it's going to look like, but you have fun with it. She sent a t-shirt that she had specially made to do the show, and she sent it in fucking green. So she said, have fun with this. It's your green screen. She sent me a fucking green t-shirt. So there it is. Bravo Zulu, a floating logo. But I'm not going to like torment the shit out of Todd by wearing this and being a floating head tonight. So I think I might be a floating head on Friday. So we'll see if Anthony Zavala from Granddaddy Herps on Friday wants to be with me and my floating head. Thanks a lot, Bravo Zulu. Ectothermic Dungeon, give me a t-shirt, bro. Red's going to show up great. Infinite Possible, you're supposed to send me one. Woodruff, Mad River, he plugged this guy today. Look at these new displays he got from Acrylic Displays. Got in today. Man, these things are nice. You might want to hit him up and see what he thinks of these acrylic displays. They look very nice in the sapphire blue to match the Mad Rivers signage. So that's very awesome. And, check out his Instagram. Reptile Collective, Steve, kicking it. Already kicked in his second subscription for a sponsorship. And that's not a plug. That's not a suggestion, sponsors. I'm not telling y'all just to start PayPaling me random amounts of money because you want to keep it rolling. But Steve did. So thank you very much, Beamer. And Beamer and I, of course, are brothers in arms. He sold the Skittles ball python, wherever the fuck that thing is on here. All of y'all saw it a million times, right? He sold that to the people in England that I sold the two-headed snake to. Savages, thanks a lot. Go back and listen to Becca Savage's episode from last week. She touched on rodent food, rodent nutrition. The entire show was on rodent nutrition and stuff like that, and a new rodent food that she's working on with supplements and everything. Check it out. It was this episode right here, Advantage Health Rodent 18. Check it out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/c/u/ballshit without the I, but you're already here. But that's for the audio people. So on to Shane Kelly, repping the shirt tonight. Shane, thanks a lot. Small Town Exotics, help him out. Like his page. He's already got plenty. Josh Strange, thanks a lot, man. Good for promoting the Todd Goodman episode today. I really appreciate you, bro. And as I was telling old Todd, Mr. Goodman from Timberline, as I was waiting, I'm going to bring him in right here and tell him that we searched on YouTube for Todd Goodman Timberline, and we came up with one video by Triple B Brian Cusco 1 year ago at Tinley Park, I believe. Tinley?
Yep.
15 minutes with this man, and I'm about to expound on that 15 minutes. Or hopefully he does. And that's it. The rest of it is just grilling tips from the man, somebody else. I don't really know. Well, right here, the man behind Brian Barchak. I didn't notice that one earlier. That was another one that obviously you were mentioned on. But here we go. Grilling. That's not you. So let's make history together. No?
Okay.
All right. So hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good. Do you mind if I welcome in some of these people in this chat over here?
No.
I'm going to show up on the screen because Shane logged in at 4:44 today to write that because they have this thing now. And then somebody else came at 6:30 and wrote shit. He missed it. He wasn't first. That's it. He missed it. So Shane got first. Congratulations, Shane. Today you are actually first. You haven't been first in a while. And here we go. Will's Hella Heat. Hello. Shane made sure to get first this time for real. He went in at 4:44. Really, Todd, it's been a competition between these guys to who can log in and say first. I don't know. Baud, third, fourth, actually, bro. You were a stretch off. Raven, good to see you. Bosa, thanks a lot. Anybody listening, smash the like, smash the subscribe. I'm going to shut up here in just a minute. I promise. Jamie Cadilli. I want to say your name, but I guess Cadile. I don't know. It's weird. Correct me. Eric's Morph Factory. Awesome to see you. Four S's. Great to have you here, buddy. Morphmonger, Paul Taylor. Who sat behind this guy in a Tinley Park convention and heard his name constantly and just couldn't see everything? What's that?
He's from very near me.
Who, Paul Taylor?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's great to see you here, Paul. Thanks for coming in and supporting the man and supporting me. Who else we got here? I missed somebody strange. Good to have you here, man. Quirky, what's up? It's good to see you. I saw you ask me a question about sales a minute ago. Reptiler, what's up, man? Reno, geez, dude, lots of people. Whole Back Rack podcast. Now, this right here, Todd, I'm going to tell you right now. Have you heard of these ladies doing a podcast? It's two women.
I haven't. I've got to be honest. I feel like I'm watching some type of show here.
Well, that's good.
I'm having a hard time keeping up. No, I don't think I don't do much with. I mean, I don't have.
Well, I want to introduce you to this. This is two moms pretty much doing like a mom and uncensored, and it's raw, bro. Like I thought my shit was raw. My shit's not raw. These two ladies get raw. You know, but they can say cunt a lot. They can say the CUNT word as much as they want. If they're flying around as much, and they do. They drop it hard. But man, they talk about so many awesome things on this channel. They talk a lot about biosecurity that we're going to talk about tonight. They talk a lot about crypto that we're going to talk about tonight. They talk a lot about issues that I think are important. So if you ever get asked by these two women to do a podcast, I think you'd have a lot of fun goofing off with them one morning with just a couple of housewife type extreme hobbyists that have a sense of humor unmatched. And I really think more women need to be doing all of this shit. So I just want to pump them up. So,
Okay.
Yep. All right. C-SERPENTS. This is going away in a minute. Lizard Morphs. This gentleman right here doesn't buy any of your insect products, but he is in Australia and he is a massive social media guy. He does blue tongue skinks and bearded dragon morphs in Oz.
Skinks.
Ooh, we're gonna have him on the show here soon. You should see the morphs, Todd. Morphs we don't have, bro. All the stuff we can't get. Yeah, it's Australia. Remember, they can't ship it. Well, at least some of it slips through the cracks. We all know that. You know. Who else? You know what? Let's get on with Todd. You guys are all welcome to be here. There's a lot of people here. Thank you all for coming in. Mike's Monitors. I'll shout out to you since you did so much at Tinley Park. Too. Yeah, you know that guy. You know that guy. Who doesn't know that guy? You know? So we'll stop right there. And Whole Back Rack says hashtag raw housewife. There it is. And you're welcome, ladies. I truly support the hell out of these two efforts. They've not stopped. They are a machine. They have like 200 episodes out. It's insane. So, and very helpful to those people. Have you ever thought, Todd, about those hobbyists? Wives, right? Because you've been in this industry a long time.
I have.
Right. So do you subscribe to the happy wife, happy life mentality?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Right.
I've been very fortunate, man. I'm blessed with an absolutely incredible wife who we don't fight.
You told me that before, and I think that's fascinating. But you're also extremely intelligent. And you pick your battles.
Yeah, I mean, we get along very well, and I think it was predicated on that early, and that's just how we are. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed.
So happy wife, happy life. I would have liked to, in the last 20 years, been able to be at a reptile show and slip a card or mention a podcast run by two moms that were exclusively about reptiles, for that dude to put his wife in front of so that she could just have a good old fucking time identifying with these two, right? And ultimately saying, okay, honey, I guess it's not that bad. Right? So when it comes to reach out with wives, you know, how much of that has happened at shows? Do you see that a lot at shows? Do you notice it? Do you notice people with the struggles of, oh, I want this pet, or I want to take this home, but my wife won't let me. Right?
Yeah, but hey, let me tell you something. I don't care what you're involved in. You know, I'm a hunter and I fish. And when I'm around guys that hunt, it always is typically talking about either a toy surrounding it, like an ATV, or another gun or something like that. The guys who are fishing, it's always about more rods and
Reels, right?
boat. And so, yes, it's that way in, but you know, I got to tell you, I have always enjoyed couples that are really involved in the hobby together. They're very fun to watch because now suddenly there's no, there's suddenly there's no adult in the room, right?
Right, exactly. They go fucking wild. Yeah, it's great, right? It's like, woo, party time. I'm looking right now, Todd. I'm single. I've been single for years now. I've kind of identified with who I am and what I want and how difficult I am to work with.
Yeah.
And so I've got a set of parameters that I'm going for. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of looking for that same thing. But Mike's monitors posted on the screen there. Todd, want to trade? So I was like, wives, I think is what he meant. I don't know.
No. Look, and Mike, I don't know your wife, but
She sounds spectacular, Todd. I don't know, man. That might be worth weighing. I mean, his wife sounds amazing too. I mean, both of your wives sound amazing. I just need to be like you guys. I don't know what it is.
mine is a wonderful lady.
You're short, but I'm taller, but you're taller. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, you guys are shorter, but I'm taller, but I'm always in a wheelchair. So that's not, I mean, I don't know. It'd be a height thing. And look, dude, I'm at this party. I'm throwing this in there. Okay. I'm at a Friendsgiving. That's the girl I'm kind of seeing, and all of her friends and my mutual friend that connected us are all lesbians. Obviously not the one I'm with, but the other one. All lesbians at the Friendsgiving. But they have that we play like the bad card game or whatever whatever it's called. It slipped my mind. But the one lesbian chick blows up and is like, if I was with any guy, it would be Danny DeVito. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, all right, I get it. I understand. You know, I've now heard 5 women say that they would love to be with Danny DeVito. And I'm like, that is fucking inspiring.
Okay, but let me hang on a second. If I've understood what you've said correctly, you're at Friendsgiving and you're the only male in the room?
I was the only male in the room. Yes.
All right.
I was the only male in the room. But I mean, am I a male? Am I a male at this point? I've been castrated by a fall, right? I've been physically castrated by a fall. I mean, at this point, I'm considered like what, 75%, 66er maybe? Maybe I was 66er, like a possible head. You know, I'm like a possible guy. I'm sensitive. I was raised by a woman. Last girl that broke up with me told me that I was a true feminist. I don't understand it, you know, but whatever. The Danny DeVito at least gives me some fucking hope, right? You know, Mike says that's good for me. Yeah, dude, you're Danny DeVito. If he fucked a Sasquatch and had a kid, that'd be you. You're a hairy ass dude. This picture he posted where did you post that picture, Mike, you the other day? He was in what, and you remember what Mike looks like, right, Todd? You remember what he looks like?
Of course.
Right. Okay. He's got his beard is dark and his hair is kind of dark, but some of it's white and it's balding. And he's just wearing a t-shirt and there's no pants on. Like, you could tell his t-shirt's pulled down far enough to hide his tighty whities or whatever he's wearing. And he's in the water monitor's cage waiting in the water. And he's just looking like that. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking wild, man. He's got no shame. And I love it. He says, Sean, you are the example to toxic masculinity. I don't think so. But yes, Todd, I was the only fella.
Okay, but that's, I mean, I just wanted to make sure I picture a whole
redeeming quality, I guess.
One big turkey and you and all these.
Right. I think I was the turkey, right?
Well,
I was the turkey. They didn't want any piece of me, I can tell you that. But I've known 2 of them for many years. They're boa constrictor people. They have a boa collection, and I've supplied them with Aspen and all that kind of shit. You know, Mike says his daughter locked him in there. When you were your tidy whities, she locked you in there and took a picture. That's a little bad. She's probably like asking, Dad, can I have a new phone? Yeah, remember that shot that I got? And he says, oh, fuck that. I'm gonna put it out there myself. Limey Smidger is here in the digital flesh. God. Todd looks good. Doesn't Todd always look good, though?
I haven't seen him in years.
I know, right? Years.
I saw him was in Daytona, and it feels like 10 years.
Many years. It was probably dude, it was probably like 5, 8, probably 8 years, 9, 10, might have been 10. Fuck, I don't know. It's been a long time.
I got nothing. Seems like a long time.
Yeah, indeed. So now Limey was the one that did a lot of mastheading for my raising money for me when I got hurt. So he was making a lot of noise back then with Jay at that show that they did in South Carolina or wherever. You were a supporter in a lot of that. So I got to tell you, thank you live here on the air with everybody. 10 years later, I am so thankful for everyone's help, yours included, because I know you weren't a small part in that either. Thank you. And your altruism is so much greater than your ego about it. So,
okay.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, that's a big word there. You're welcome.
Altruism?
I'm just saying, look, as I've told you before, and I know we'll say it again and again, that I believe is what we do as a community of people that are kind of like a family.
I agree. And we touched on that pre-show. Guys, we really did some good little chat in 15 minutes of pre-show. So please go and check out the audio-only version of this in a couple weeks when it gets uploaded. And I love you. I'm slowly releasing them to audio to try to get more of you fuckers to subscribe. So hit the subscribe. So if you're 29 people strong here and you're here, hit the subscribe. And look, some of you, while you're not busy, do me a favor and go share this link right now on your social medias. Let's do a real quick share so we can get this number of viewers up for Todd's episode, please. And I'd really like to see this viewer number increase. So once you guys get out there and post that we are live right now for me and for this man. Todd always donates, always. Todd is donate. I don't know, like nobody can set an example higher than this man. Out there chatting amongst themselves. Yeah, they do that in the chat. So let's get on to 1973. I said I wanted to kind of get on with that. And the year that, like I said in pre-chat, the year that Dad came home and told your wife he was tired of buying bait. I mean, your mom. He was tired of buying bait. Oh, man, I'm done buying bait, honey. We're starting to raise crickets. This shit sucks. Or he was out there strumming for worms in the dirt like a good old North Mississippi person or whatever does. Tell me about it. I want to know.
Actually, my dad was a barber. He had a barber shop here in Marion, but he was an outdoorsman. He hunted and fishing. He was always in the outdoors, which was kind of problematic, I suppose, for a guy that had to be in the place so many days a week. But he decided to open up a pay fishing lake with 2 other guys. What that is, a borrow pond where they built the highway coming through Marion. So it was a pay fishing lake where, like down in Kentucky and Tennessee, places where you go, you fish, you catch 10 pounds of fish, you weigh it in, you pay so much per pound, whatever. He couldn't find bait for those people, live bait for those people to use while they fished. So he had to go to the source and became a distributor of live bait. You buy too many, so you can't sell it all at your spot. So he started a route where he would go around to other bait shops and sell them crickets and minnows and night crawlers and waxworms and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that's how it got started.
And where's your geographic?
Southern Illinois.
So would you say Marion?
Marion, yeah.
Marion, Illinois. Yeah. Apparently freshwater fishing is a thing there. If you have that many bait shops that he could run a route to. Right. I mean, you know me, you know where I am. I'm north of New Orleans, bro. So you can't walk a minute without fishing. Like you could go, if you're hungry, you can just go fish right down the street. You just go right down the road. There's a pond and there's shit in there. So, or a river.
Bass, catfish, bluegill, crappie, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So there are a tremendous number of lakes here. We're right on the edge of the Shawnee National Forest.
Okay.
It's actually where the name Timberline came from. SIU was a university in Carbondale. My dad got the graphic arts guy to run a contest with the students to come up with a name and a logo for a new business. And that's where the name Timberline came from.
Okay.
That's why I'm near Paul Taylor, because Paul is down closer to Snake Road. We're all very near Snake Road.
Okay.
Comparatively.
Snake Road?
Look here. If you're going to tell me right now that you don't know what Snake Road is,
I don't know what Snake Road is.
Well,
don't hang up. Looks like he was about to hang up, guys. Look, boop. That's
I don't know
it.
what
Gone.
to say
See
about
ya. Peace out. Snake
LaRue.
Road.
LaRue Pine Hills, if you've ever heard of that.
Okay.
It's a very famous for most people. Place where twice a year they open and close a road because all of the reptiles are migrating, going in or coming out of hibernation.
Okay.
That's part of the national. I mean, it's. I
All
don't know.
right. I cannot believe I've never heard of Snake Road.
I'm big. I'm actually doing.
This is fucking hilarious. Look at what Limey said. Seriously, even you could herp there. Fuck you, dude. That's fucking ridiculous. Good
I'm
opportunity right there. You
You're
owe me a
losing
podcast.
street cred right here.
That Limey comment right there owes me a podcast just for fucking making that. That right there is the most hilarious wheelchair thing you could ever say to me on this fucking show. Seriously, you could even herp there. What a dick. Yeah, whole back rack, same thing. We could wheel Sean down the road one day. Fuck all of you, by the way, including the man. Fuck you too. I love you, but fuck you. I mean,
cool
Jesus God. Oh man, Snake Road. I'm sorry. Look, is this all just happened in the last 4 years? I want to say that this is all new, right? The snakes just started crossing. They just cut the road in, right? In like 2019.
No, this goes back to
all right.
all
right.
Like,
I feel like an ass, but hey, you know what? This is great entertainment. This is great entertainment. So he wears a t-shirt and he calls himself a reptile guy.
But doesn't know what Snake Road is.
Doesn't know what Snake Road is, and apparently it's a fucking shoe-in for me to go herping on. Oh man, you guys are killing me tonight. Oh, Todd, you can't make this shit up, bro.
Yeah.
You can't.
But anyway, that's how the whole thing got started.
That's
the whole thing got started was so one of my first jobs as an 8-year-old is I counted worms.
Okay.
You put them in a cup, you put 12 in a cup, and that's kind of how the whole. But we were distributors only because I used to run bait routes. I mean, man, I have so many stories.
Good. I want to hear them.
I used to run with an atlas because if you were going to find a new place, you didn't have a GPS, so you had to break out the atlas. And around here, you get directions like now. If you go down there to that red barn, okay, just before you get there, there's a road that turns right. Okay, don't go down that one.
It was a Jeff Foxworthy joke. Okay, I got it.
For real. I mean, I don't know his jokes, but that was real. Yeah. So that was how I ever was around.
That was you might be a redneck joke. You might be a redneck if you get directions. You go down the road and you figure out, right? That's it.
That guy now that I think about it.
Yeah, Jeff Foxworthy. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a Jeff Foxworthy direction. So, I mean, you had to find it by way of actual maps, like actual road maps and actual atlas.
But all around lakes that are winding roads, and it was. But sounds
like a beautiful place that you live in.
Oh, it's a beautiful area
compared to the Illinois that I've seen on my Tinley Drive.
That's different.
Yeah, shit's fucking horrible. Anywhere those people live must suck ass. Like it's terrible.
Hey, look, let me explain to you where I'm from. I am closer to Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. Yeah. You have that environment. I understand.
Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, St. Louis, than I am to Tinley.
Right. Okay. Got
and
it.
even though
I know Illinois is a nice long.
It's a nice long
state. And so you're in the deep south of the incredibly left north. So yeah, that must be interesting for you with this president of the United States flag and stuff hanging up behind you and your military.
That's Ronald Reagan.
That's Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
What is it? I can't quite see all of it.
It's just it's a picture of him and a plaque and a couple signed things from when
very cool.
He was one of my inspirations as a leader. That's why he's there.
Yeah, he was a great president. He was a great leader. His policy was incredible. His John Wayne rule is needed again, I think, in this world today, even though I don't know that it would be all widely accepted. I really enjoyed.
Look, Sean, let me submit this to you. Regardless how you agreed or disagreed with the way he did things, and I don't even venture into those topics, he was a smart leader because he found people that were very good at what they did, and he trusted them to do it that way. He trusted them, but what did he also do? He verified, right? But the point of the whole thing was he did not micromanage and get in everybody's way. That's much of what I learned from him.
Delegation.
Well, yes, but not only delegation, you have to absolutely believe that they come from the same spot that you come from as a leader within any organization. That's why I love my people.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's very interesting to hear that. And I never learned to not micromanage. I was brought up in a micromanaged home. It's sad. My mom is that way, and she helps me guardian my daughter, so she still has that influence over my daughter. But I try to be that diplomatic person with my daughter and try to show her the ways, because I would like her to be able to operate a group of people when she grows, as opposed to being financially restricted, held back, like I feel I have, by micromanaging people too much, you know? And I think you're very much a representation of that influence of Reagan with delegation, because, I mean, that's the only way to really say it. I mean, to delegate responsibility and trust in those people to be able to do it without sitting over them allows you to be productive and allows productivity to be scalable. And that is something that some of these ball python people that might be watching this show, Todd, are thinking, how can I scale this business? Right. And they're never going to scale it without delegation. Right.
True. Scaling is the hard part of anything. You can do anything small, but scaling it is not a 1 + 1. It's more like a 1 + 1 = 3, and 3 + 3 = 40. Scaling is it is a beast.
In my case, it's 3 + 3 = 4.5. When I scale up, I seem to go backwards. You know what I mean? Like I tend to work.
Scaling is always the difficulty in business. Because if you can't scale, but it isn't, if it costs this to do one part and this to do two parts, somehow they don't equal. They're more than that. They are. Business is not easy. It's definitely harder now, for sure.
So, that sense of it, your dad with the business delivering and stuff back to where we were starting off with the company and Timberline and everything. Wherein did you guys come in and kind of like revamp it to no longer be, because obviously fishing is seasonal, so you would have dips. So what was your family life like with that business early on, being a mostly bait-based business? Was it struggling in certain times, like winter time was really hard? You were like a grass guy, right? Like we are in the South. A lot of these guys that cut grass make so much fucking money here, and then they are so assed out in the sun in the winter time. But I mean, they can't go. But then they can't go shovel snow, right? Like they can't clear driveways. Like they have no other thing that they could go do with equipment and guys to keep them busy. Actually, it's funny. One of my relatives in Monroe, Louisiana, he operates an outdoor construction business that can't work in the cold, times. So because he does like buildings, tall buildings and stuff. So he set up an antique classic car restoration garage on his property, so all of his construction workers restore cars when it's too cold to work. Cool. Oh, dude, they crank out Studebakers and shit. Like he supplies Barrett Jackson auction with cars.
That's cool.
It's crazy. Like it's such a cool operation. It's such a cool use of manpower.
All right, so let me explain to you what my dad did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what it was like for me, my dad, he had to work extremely long hours. I still do, just kind of the way. At the end of the day, we're farmers now, okay? There's no other way to describe what we do now. But where we were at that time, because it was very seasonal and very regional, then you were out half the year, okay? So so we're in Southern Illinois where waterfowl hunting it has historically been very big. There was a time where Canadian geese were hunted here, and he had a business. We did a business cleaning geese in the wintertime. Okay. So that would bridge the gap from warm to cold. And then we had a hunting club, an outfitter around at the same time of year. So that's what we did. And selling that hunting club is actually where we got the seed money to start going into production rather than being distributors.
Okay. All right. And what did production start with?
Crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it was the easiest and the most difficult, easiest for us
To raise.
because it was always very difficult. This moving those around as a supplier was very difficult. Ours were coming out of Mississippi. So if I would load up my truck to go run a bait route and get to the post office and the crickets didn't come in on the early truck,
Right.
I would run my entire route, charge for crickets that I would be back within a few hours to hand to them. I'd run my entire route, go to the post office, pick them up, and run my entire route
Rerun it.
and handing out the crickets that didn't come in time.
So you spent double fuel.
That was the rub. That was really the rub for why we started producing our own. It was really born out of that concept that we needed to be able, if we were going to have good supply, long before pets, if we were going to have good supply for bait alone, we were going to have to resolve that piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
So that's how that step was made. Now, I went to Eastern Illinois University from 84 to 88. And when I came back, that's when I was kind of at a crossroads because I was very frustrated from a business perspective about a business that was so seasonal.
Right.
But very difficult. How do you even plan for that? And if it's a rainy spring, you might lose 30 to 50% of your business. And if it was a really sweltering summer, you might lose it as well. So it was quite a ride. So I couldn't do that, right? I couldn't have spent part of the year sort of trying to figure out how to put the pieces together. So that's where I got my first glimpse into the pet industry. So we're talking about 93.
Okay, 93. And all right, so Jonathan Sell, real quick, I'll interrupt this and say Todd is the man. Thank you for everything you do for the industry. It doesn't go unnoticed. And you know Jonathan Sell. You'd recognize him. If you don't know him, man, I mean, what a name. Sell. He was born to win, son. If he'd have been a loser, it'd have been like Munson all over again. It'd have been like it'd have been like Kingpin all over again, right? It'd have been bad if Jonathan Sells Snakes didn't. I mean, that's the name of his company, Jonathan Sells Snakes. Fuck. I mean, how do you later? If he starts out with Jonathan Sells Crickets, I don't know. You might have to worry. You might have to worry because that dude's got it in his name, you know. And look, some of these people coming in and they're really solid people. Creative Coralophysis, what's going on? Got busy feeding geckos and lost track of time. Creme de la creme. Jessica or Jana. It's always Jessica under that name. It's never the Jana under that name. She likes to rep herself. She's a noob, so she's got to throw her logo everywhere to make her feel like she's repping herself. So she's never on under their company flyer. Pawpaws Pythons, what's up? It's good to have you guys in here a few minutes after we started. You missed some great content, so you can go back and rewatch it when we are done. So let's see. What's I gonna go on with right there? It's gonna lead into something right there. What was it? So you started production. What size effort was that when production was started on crickets for a bait run? Like, was it a building that was like 50 by 100? Was it, do you remember?
Yeah.
Off the top of your head? Because we talk about scaling, right?
That original building, we just tore down a year and a half ago.
That's fucking productive. I wonder how much dollars that building generated, right?
I wonder. Now, that would have been,
that gives me chills.
That was a 70 by 40.
A pretty big building.
I think that's what it was. And it was, and that was everything.
Enough for mom to be like, are you sure?
Yeah, well, hey, I'm going to tell you something, because at that time, I was completely involved because I came out of school in 88. So I was full time at that time. And yeah, it's a scary proposition we were fortunate. We were able to find like friendly bankers that understood what we were up to.
Because this was before the SNL crisis. Banking was a very different thing.
But I mean that it sounded like we were nuts, but we needed somebody to get behind us. And they knew we were honest people who I mean, nobody wants to go broke, but at the end of the day, my dad had been an entrepreneur. He started his own barbershop, then he did all of that. So everybody knows that's kind of you're motivated by.
You're a hustler. Yeah, you're a hustler.
You're
You're self-employed in every sense, right?
Yeah.
You're self-employed in every fucking sense. I try to tell people that when you run a company and you have people that work for you, that you're not working for yourself. You're working for their families. And it's like, whoa, when you like have that on your back, like I've dialed my collection down, Todd, to where I don't need a full-time employee anymore. So I had to tell my employee she had to find a second job for a while until we could dial it back up again in a sense. But she's burnt the fuck out. Like she's been here for 5 years. When I sold the ball python collection, she was like, whew, that's kind of nice. And then her hours have just been kind of dwindling since. But I got to tell you, man, going through this recession and watching the gas prices be crazy and watching the food prices in the grocery store be crazy and still paying my employee the same wage feel really bad. You know, it didn't feel good. And at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to be offering you any new opportunities anytime soon. Please go find something else that maybe you can grow in for a while until I can grow this again. Because honestly, man, I was losing sleep at night wondering about her pay, right? Because if I don't pay her, then she doesn't pay her electricity and her house gets shut off. You know what I mean? And there's so many things that fall down, not even counting me, not even counting animal food and all that type of thing. How many employees are you running an operation right now? Roughly. Yeah.
This farm right now is about 165 people.
165 people. And your dad started this operation in 1973 with himself and some kids. And who else? Was it a lot of people at that point? Was it already a rolling machine, or it was just a bare start?
Himself. It was just him in a van.
Just him in a van.
Yeah.
Cool.
The two people that partnered with him on the pay fishing, like, were out in the first year. They neither were actually involved. They were just the money guys.
Yeah, indeed. Small town. Thank you, Todd, for everything you've done. Mike's Monitors. Todd, Timberline was the first to get their stickers in for the Phil Goss surprise shadow box.
Love us some Phil Goss.
Yeah, I did make that little sign for that box. I sure hope it's nice and looks good in there with the rest of the stickers and stuff.
Yeah, it was
fun making that little sign. So I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to participate. Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't there for the unveiling. So, Phil, you better have that thing right over your toilet, somewhere you see it constantly throughout the day when you're deep in thought. Because honestly, there's deep in thought times to do it. Put it across from the toilet. When you're deep in thought, you can recognize all of us that recognize you, bro. Because honestly, bro, I mean, how awesome has he been at that organization?
Let me tell you something. Phil is, of course, I've known Phil long before he did that. Man, Phil's just a great guy, smart. He's a very, very hard worker.
Now, did you have any doings with Phil being up there with that when he originally came into the organization? Did you have any?
I was on the board. I've been on the board
since Andrew and everything.
I was there with Andrew, but not from the very beginning. But
okay.
I've obviously been on it for a long. I don't remember how many years it is, but yeah, I mean. Yeah, I was involved during that whole interview process. And of course, we already knew him as a person. So we knew he was a great person. I mean, you know, you had to be motivated in an incredible way to do that job.
God, you do.
And
it's got to be so selfless. It's got to be so fucking selfless.
And he's dying right now if he's listening to this because he doesn't like being told nice.
Oh, he ain't listening to this. I'm sure he's not listening to that. I mean, I don't know. I tagged his ass in it. I tried to tag him and Potter and them in it just to see. But, you know, if you guys are listening to this, get your ass in that chat and say, hey, you fuckers, you ought to do at least something. I tagged him, Dave Kaufman, and Phil Goss, and I said, at least share this. None of them shared. Not one of them shared it. So, fucking ass. They're all too busy. Phil's too busy saving our ass. Dave's too busy telling us what fucking animals live where in the world, and Brian's too busy fucking either being in the Keys fishing with, I don't know what he's doing, hunting, fishing. He's either with you at a gun show, with Dave fishing, or at a reptile show, and his partner still busts his ass at work. What the fuck? I mean, what does Jeff do, right? As Brian parties, and what does Jeff do? You know, with the fucking store. I guess store's just rolling on. You know, yes, Mike, you're absolutely welcome. He said it's a beautiful, thank you for the beautiful USARK signage. I'm trying, I'm working on it. I am trying to get there. And I'm even moving back to this facility come next month part-time. I'm going to leave my kiddo with my mom for half the week, and that way I can get here and work more because the desire for these machines, man. Because Todd, when I closed my aquarium shop, I didn't close it. I sold it because it was just a fucking horror fest. When I closed the aquarium store, or sold the aquarium store, I invested in more machining, CNC machines, lasers, routers, printers, and honestly, I enjoy it. It's fun to just draw it on a computer and not have to have an employee interject in it. You just hit the play button and you got your shit. It's pretty cool. They don't talk back at all, except when they break. And then when they break, they just sit and new parts come. They don't sit and eat while you wait for more production. No, they don't. They just wait for you to feed them. And then they spit out product. So yeah, in that way, insects are about as machine as I can think of in the animal world, which means that you can perfect how you raise them. How much R&D has gone into that company since 1973?
Oh my goodness. I mean, a lot.
Because now you're working with scientists and biologists and nutrition experts and veterinarians, and like you're working with, you know, have you ever worked with Dr. Mark Mitchell?
Yeah, I actually remember when he was at Purina.
Chicago? Where?
In St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Was he there? Yeah, he runs LSU. He's at LSU now. And he was in Chicago.
For talking about two different people.
Maybe so. Sure. Mark Mitchell. And he's done like a lot of nutritional science and stuff. I did a podcast with him, and you would not believe it. I counted the other day in the top podcast, Todd. We had the ball python people. I had like Ozzy and Bob Vu and like the big name guys, Mark Mandick from Canada. These big names in ball pythons. And fifth on the list, sixth on the list was him with that veterinary episode, because we did 2 hours and we touched on a lot. We touched on a whole lot. But a lot of it was also touching on dietary. And we talked about rodent nutrition last Tuesday. You could talk about insect nutrition this Tuesday. How did that go in? What were you feeding crickets in 1973?
Well, that's the interesting part. Okay, there are two parts to the whole thing for me. Every cricket that was raised, I would say 99.9% of them raised up until 1975, maybe, were raised for the purpose of fishing. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know anybody that goes fishing and worries the nutrition of that cricket as it relates to the fish they're going to catch and likely eat.
Yeah, it could be eating shoe polish, bro. It don't matter to them. They don't give a fuck as long as it catches the fish.
So now, as we talk about that, it's just exactly like every other crop you grow. If it's cattle, you have to get them as fat as you can get them and to market as fast as you can get it at the lowest cost.
Right.
Okay.
It's all bottom line.
Okay. So all crickets raised during that time were raised on what is essentially chicken feed, chicken mash, or, you know, it was grain. Maybe it was whatever it was. It was what was more readily available, and the most available was chicken feed. So because we were a fresh set of eyes on the concept of growing crickets, mm-hmm. We're not farmers by nature. I simply wanted to ask questions to determine what the best way to go about it was. Okay. So we had always heard this rumor, you can't have cricket feed greater than, 12% protein because it's too hot for the cricket.
Okay. Yeah. They'll eat it and gut and kills them.
Let me walk backwards. Do you happen to know what generally speaking, what that chicken feed protein was?
12%. 12%. Right. So I would say because chicken and the metabolism on chickens is probably would need an insane amount of protein.
So the idea was that was a wives' tale. That was not true at all.
Ah, okay.
In fact, it was more about, my guess is maybe at some point they tried a feed that had medication in it. Maybe it was a different protein, and medication will kill a cricket.
Okay.
So walking that forward, what we were feeding them back then in the very beginning when we got started was chicken feed. But my first question about that chicken feed was, I know that if protein is the issue, why can't we try different proteins? Let's make certain that a healthier bug might not be obtained, healthier so that it can be shipped better, so that it will live longer, so that it's more healthy for the reptiles. The reptile concern didn't come until years later.
Right, because I would imagine spoilage for crickets at a bait shop is insane.
Well, yeah, but they should never be there longer than a week.
Right. Okay.
Because most of that stuff is perishable. You're bringing your fish by or your minnows and everything else by.
Right.
So, but my first real question had to do with how they ate. It did not seem to me that a crumble that chickens eat was the right way to present that food. That's how we actually first got started with getting help formulating our food. So
why? Because it wasn't powdered enough. It wasn't broken down enough.
Well, first of all, again, we were repurposing a food that was made for something else.
So you needed to make something specifically for that purpose instead of just change. Right. And this is exactly what we talked about with the rodent food last week, Todd, where we, instead of taking a pig formula, or some bland, regular old 18% rodent formula and cramming it into a pellet, it's time to start looking at the nutrition of what a mouse or what a rat needs to give a reptile and incorporating that in rodent food. And none of that's being done yet, Todd. None of that's being done yet. Okay. On the rodent level. They're all using Purina, rat, rodent chow, lab block and stuff. Now, granted, the lab stuff might be a little refined, but it's refined for those lab animals, which, like you said, is not the same application, right? I mean, I wouldn't think a lab rodent and a reptile food rodent would have exactly the same nutritional requirements as far as bringing them up in a commercial setting. And it's the same thing we're talking about here with crickets. So never mind just changing the shape of the block. Like these guys were like, yeah, dude, I use this FRM pig feed, right? And they did, instead of using the big blocks, that FRM presses it into a rodent pellet and markets it for rodents. And thus you have pig food going to rodents. So you had chicken feed going to crickets. And
so let me ask you this question. In the wild, insects that wild reptiles eat, where do they get their chicken feed?
I like how you think, bro.
Okay. So that was what started. It was that question with my nutritionist that we asked the question, well, why can't we make more nutritious crickets? Right.
Yeah. Right.
So that's where the Vitabug thing came from. Vitabug isn't just a goofy name we put on it. What our goal was to take, so in the wild, all these variety of insects are eating this plant, that plant. They don't know why. They just eat it because they like it, whatever. But at the end of the day, what's in them is all the vitamin A and E, and you get all your beta carotene. You're getting it all
from a foraged meal.
Right. So our thought then is, why can't we create a cricket? Now, you and I both know the way most of us learned to do it early on, because we keep a tremendous collection of reptiles and have for many years, just so that our customer service people sort of have an interaction with them to understand.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's vital in an operation like yours, to have an area or have cubicles and make your employees keep a reptile. Like that's how Bulk Reef Supply does it. They make their employees keep a reef tank or a saltwater tank of some sort. They're like, we don't care if you just put 2 clownfish in it. We're going to give you a tank for your cubicle or for your office, and we want you to set it up. Just let us know what you need, or let us know what you want, whatever, because they want their employees interacting. And they also get to test things too. I mean, obviously they have a whole lab and you have a whole lab and shit like that that's aside from your reptile collection. But still, when you're growing like your shinnies, right? Like you had Shinosaurus, Crocodiliurus for many, many years. You had them when I got mine. I don't have my shinnies anymore. I missed them dearly. Oh, look, I want to show you something.
We got baby shinnies this year.
Look, I want to show you something. My employee Grace that I said bye to as we were recording, she took a half of a cypress knee. So like that's a cypress knee from the swamp.
That's cool.
It's a half thing, and it's of course the green doesn't show up, but look at that.
That's very cool.
Look at that. Yeah, that's shitty. That's Shinosaurus.
Yes.
That was actually a picture she took on her cell phone of the shinny in the tank here at the shop, and she went home and painted it on this awesome piece of cypress.
Nice.
Actually, look, I'm even gonna ugly up the stream for a second. Hang on a second. I'm gonna take the virtual background off, and here, look. There you go.
That's cool.
Switch over. There you go. So much better, right? And
very nice.
Yeah. So, man, I miss those lizards. I do. But I had a local guy who had like 8 of them or 10 of them. And he was like, I'd like to add these to my group. And I said, well, when you got that opportunity, right, Todd? I mean, you kind of have to think about the animal, right? And be like, yeah, this guy's got a group and there's more genetics there and there's more. This could be a good thing. He's paying me what I paid for him. I'm not losing money, right? You know what I just did? I just shipped off 2 like 15 to 17-year-old female diamond pythons, like legit zoo stock, because they've been sitting in a cage here for 15 years and they've only been bred a few times. And one of my listeners has an outdoor setup in San Diego for diamond pythons. So like, why not, right? Like think of the animal for a minute and not give a shit about the value and just say, hey, bro, you want to partner with me? I'll send them to you and they can die out there in the sun. I feel better about that. So like, let them be in the sun, let them get some rain on them and stuff in their older age, and they'll breed. They'll still breed, But so how many reptiles do you keep there at the CSR reptile room?
I don't know. I mean, there've got to be
a bunch,
several hundred. Yeah. The guys
more than I thought.
The guys from ZoomEd came in and set up an entire reptile room. Yeah, I even did a podcast there with Cupco.
Oh, with Cusco? I wonder where that is.
I don't remember when it was, but anyway. So wait, let me complete the thought from where we were, because I still think it's important to understand the next step we took as hobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
We started gut loading our bugs, right?
Yeah. I mean, gut loading and dusting, of course, which, I mean, you could say about dust. I know what you're going to say. The percentage of dust that comes off the insect in the first minute or two is what?
90%, 1 minute.
Oh, they're like, get the shit off me. That's exactly it.
Now, let me explain one thing to you about the concept of gut loading. Have you ever had a White Castle?
Oh, man. I tell you, the last time I had White Castle, because we don't have that many of them down here, brother, was in Tinley Park when Pete Call and Mark Bell and them went bowling one night. And driving by, Pete was like, oh, there's that fucking White Castle like in that Harold and Kumar movie. Let's go. And he went to the window and he didn't know how to order. And he thought it was one burger and it was one box of mini burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And so he bought like 20 boxes of mini burgers. So the whole Tinley Park, the lobby coffee table was stacked up with White Castle all night. So yeah, give me the White Castle. It's garbage.
What was the length of permanence after you ate them?
Like the permanence, you mean like the fact that I could have gone back to the same coffee table 3 nights later and still had a freshie? Is that what you mean? I could have heated it up with a torch and it would have been fine.
You know why they're called sliders?
There you go.
Just passing through.
Just passing through. That's right. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Rita Korolova says gut loading is so important. So let's get on with this fact, because he might say yes and no.
Well, here let me submit this to you. Yes, gut loading is important because we have to add in nutrients. Mm-hmm. Okay. Our concept took 10 years with our
Vitabugs.
partners to come. But the reason we had to do it is we wanted to make certain that not only all those nutrients were in place, but that they were part of the body, not part of the gut. And that if you got them and didn't feed them for a week, 100% of the nutrient was still there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was born out of. So now you give them calcium worms or calcium source of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And with the exception of lighting, you've done everything. And you've done it with a natural insect, just like they would be whenever they forage.
Mm-hmm.
That was where that was born out of, much like you talk about this gentleman who was talking about food for anything else. The nutrients need to be there.
Yeah, rodent chow. I mean, because rodent chow, I mean, think about the massive amount of rodent chow that's being consumed in this country just for the ornamental trade in reptiles. Not labs, not pets, not fucking whatever else, right? But the ornamental trade of reptiles, which has a completely different focus, and not one company making a nationally available rodent chow that is broadly balanced and built for the production of these animals for our animals. So you guys are, look, you have MorphMarket now. You don't need another one. So don't go waste your time trying to code and trying to build a better MorphMarket unless you're going to go work for him and make him better. Just don't even fucking try. I don't want to see, some other reptile, exchange extravagant, which I know there are other ones that are like MorphMarket now. They're popping up, but why fucking reinvent the wheel again? Focus on something important. Somebody go make a goddamn rodent chow and make it nationally available. Because that's what Becca Savage is trying to do, Todd. She's trying to get a rodent chow that comes from the central part of Florida national. And that's like impossible. I was like, too bad you're not in fucking Oklahoma. If you were in Oklahoma, it'd be a hell of a lot easier. So we will talk about transit. Holdback Rack piped up this quick question. What's the transit time for a cricket? I'm not sure exactly how she means that question. Transit time in bowels. So as far as they're eating and they're excreting what they've eaten, like is it a long or a short passage, or is it a tunnel with lights? Is it one way? I mean, hopefully it's one way.
Let me answer you in this way. This farm will use 35 tons of cricket feed this week.
35 tons of cricket food a week. So if you could figure out, if you could sit there and clock a cricket ass on production. My
point is we'll produce that much of waste this week as well from them. I don't know the transit time. I mean, as far as if we're talking about a longer or shorter time, we're talking about a very short time.
Bro, I'm allergic to cricket shit. I'm badly allergic to cricket shit. Badly.
And
you know what? 35,000 pounds of cricket shit a week, he just said, guys. What the fuck? What eats the cricket shit? What eats the cricket shit?
We give it to farmers to use as fertilizer.
Okay. Is it a fertilizer that needs to be composted? Is it too hot, or can it go directly on plants? Do you know?
It straight up, it runs the same as what you would apply to a field.
Okay. Wow. Like right off. Like you don't have to compost, you don't have to treat it, you don't have to break it down.
No,
like chicken shit. Like chicken byproduct. They got to break that shit down because you'll burn whatever you put it on.
No,
it doesn't. Put it on a tree, you put it on grass, you'll burn.
It doesn't get high at all because it doesn't.
That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a interesting thought. And is there a decent byproduct turnaround on that? Like you sell it, I would imagine.
No, we give it to farmers.
Oh wow, you give it away. Look at that, man.
Well, I mean, to me, look, at the end of the day, when you early on when we had that much to get rid of, I don't look at it. It's not a business. You
don't want to be stuck with it. That's for sure.
I don't want to be stuck with it, but it's not our business. It's something that if it benefits them and the farmers here benefit from it because we just give
it. It'd be like, oh, this recession's a bitch. Inflation's horrible. Oh man, look, I feel terrible selling this shit to you today for more money. But cricket food went up, so shit goes up, right? Sorry. How do you inflate shit in price? Like if you could sell shit and you can inflate it based on the food it took to make it, you are my sales hero. Like I want to know. I want to know the secrets. I want to know all of it. I want to know all the wisdom. But that's the kind of questions you get from the Holdback Rack podcast. Transit time and bowels. That's the kind of shit they talk about. I mean, literally, that's the kind of shit.
Understand?
No, and this is a shit channel, bullshit. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, guys. I want to see numbers on this. I'm not seeing numbers in the chat. So I want to see numbers on the fucking episode. I don't want this to be like, oh, I don't care that much about that Todd guy. I only just fuck crickets and fucking mess with bugs and worms, and then he buys everything cool at USARK auctions that I want. That's the real thing. They're boycotting you, trying to get your money to go down so you won't buy all the cool shit at every fucking auction. So, but that's what it takes to get the prices up. Coralofus says the overall diet that built the cricket is just as important, and I agree. I mean, I agree.
What I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
I agree with
what I'm saying.
So, and it is germane to gut loading. I agree. And here we are with the Vitabug. What is Vitabug page? So if you guys listen to this and you want more information that's broken down by the letter, then go to this page on timberlinefresh.com and click on this, the BHB study. And they've done the study. They've seen the results in quality, especially this bearded dragon photos right here and stuff really show results. And I think it's quantifiable. So it's definitely worth doing.
All of it is quantifiable. I mean, it's real science. It's not, I think most people thought initially that it was just a shtick, like a name, but it wasn't at all. That's why they're much more expensive to produce.
Yes, indeed. So, Mike Narita, thanks for saying let's get the likes up on this quality info, because this is always good to know. Because, dude, when do you get to talk to a guy that produces 35,000 pounds of shit a week? I mean, that's there should be a trophy for that. There should be a trophy for that. It should be shaped like a macro image of a giant piece of cricket shit, whatever that's shaped like, just a long tube, I would imagine. So yeah, like what other insects have you worked with? And for the duration of the Timberline company, like it's crickets to start, and then what stepped in after them? Worms, right? Crawlers, you said.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody produces those. But no, that comes from the old days. But
yeah, they still strum the ground and catch them and stuff. And you buy those from the rednecks to do that?
In Canada, actually, yeah.
In Canada, okay.
Canadian night crawlers, but so we produce.
What do you call a redneck in Canada?
Went from crickets to standard mealworms, giant mealworms, then superworms. So we also do waxworms. We do calciworms, which are black soldier fly larvae.
Right.
We do flightless fruit flies. We do hornworms. I think I said them all. But they were just natural progression in and
hornworms is what? Hornworms is the moth.
Hornworm's the great big green worm with the horn on it.
Yeah, I know that, but what's it turn into?
It's a moth. It's a moth. Yeah, just like it's a much bigger.
It's a big ass moth. Yeah. So waxworm's a moth. That's a moth. Soldier flies. And soldier flies are great too, right? Like in themselves, those are supposed to be like super calcium packed.
They are. They're a treat. You treat them like a waxworm, where you feed.
Okay, they're a treat animal.
You give them.
It's been a while since I really dug into lizards.
You can't run too much calcium, but it's a natural way to get them calcium, where you don't have to do anything else to get them calcium. And let me tell you an interesting story about calciworms. They are when they turn into a black soldier fly. No calcium. It's all gone at that point.
Oh, they've used it all to build their structure.
Apparently, because nothing we fed them had calcium in it. Quite an interesting creature.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting.
So does it generate calcium ultraviolet wise, like D3? It's got to do that, right? Like, because it consumes so much vegetation that it gets a sunlight exposure and it processes ultraviolet into calcium and uses that to build the pupa or whatever, right? Like I'm talking on my ass completely at this point.
Let me tell you an interesting thing, black soldier fly larvae. Okay, when you see a black soldier fly, you think it's a black wasp. It looks like a black wasp. The first time I ever saw them was when keep them beneath where you keep baby ducks, baby geese, quail, something.
And they bite like a motherfucker, right? Like they bite. They
bite.
No,
not at all.
Flies don't bite. No.
But what I first saw in all of the droppings was these flat worms, these black soldier fly larvae.
Okay.
Now here's the funny thing. You know who are extremely drawn to them in the barnyard? Chickens.
Chickens.
What on earth would chicken need calcium for?
Right. I have no idea. Right. I have no idea.
To make eggs.
Oh, I know. I'm being sarcastic.
Amazing
This
to me.
isn't Snake Road again. I'm not that fucking stupid. Come on. Snake
No,
Road, he's like, oh, I'm talking to a dumbass. I gotta explain every fucking thing. Oh, yeah, no, it's not quite
just
that bad, brother.
in general, I love the fact that when I first realized what was going on back when we kept chickens and whatnot, I never realized the application as it relates to reptiles. That's what I'm talking about. Because now you give them to reptiles and you give them calcium a natural way.
Right.
Rather than part of the hocus pocus we do with them.
The hocus pocus.
The gut load.
Right. The nutrition. Right. The overall nutrition that we do with them.
Yeah.
So you really feel that a reptile's diet that's insect eating needs to be many of these things, not just one of these things.
Yeah. That's why we started producing calcium worms, because now I can hand you bugs and everything from here that will give you what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the correct lighting. You gotta do the correct lighting.
Right. You still got to do the lighting. Still got to do the lighting, which some people still don't fucking do. Jesus Christ. I don't even know why they bother with putting an animal through that level of torture. But I just had an aquarium shop, Todd. I can't tell you what it's like to be a part of this is what I named it. The Accepted Serial Killers Club. Dude, everybody's in it. You're all a bunch of fucking serial killers. You all kill animals the same exact way. You all keep trying. You all keep killing them. When the fuck are you going to stop and try to figure it out? Like, Todd, I built reef tanks and I built planted tanks that are environments like a bioactive cage. And yet the motherfuckers want plastic plants and fucking fluorescent rocks and skeletons that move and bubble. I mean, dude, can we please treat nature like nature and not like a fucking SpongeBob episode? I don't know what else to do here. So I'm like, fuck it. My number one spending customer that was very difficult to deal with a few times, I wanted to buy it, Todd. So I was like, oh, fuck it. You buy it? Front of the recession? Absolutely, dude. Here's the fucking keys. See ya. And I'm done. Like, that's it. Captive bred freshwater fish in my future and corals, maybe. No wild fish no more. No wild shit like that. No more. People need to get off their shit and start learning how to keep stuff before they start just buying more from the wild because it's a fish. Just because some vegetarians eat them too doesn't mean it's not a life, folks. It's a fucking fish. So the fish business was very seasonal. So what was that season for you on the fish the bait business back in the day? It was very seasonal. What was it?
Spring to fall.
That's it, spring to fall, because you have
Spring
4
to fall.
seasons there, and that's it.
The biggest bait day of the year was Memorial Day weekend. The second biggest was 4th of July weekend. The third was Labor Day weekend.
So did you jump ship from the fucking food business for bait shops completely and just go into reptiles, or was it a slow passage?
No. We continued. We still have bait customers.
Imagine you do.
But
yeah,
it was a natural look. A seasonal regional business and let me say this, for 15 straight years, fishing license sales in the United States went down. Okay. Part of that had to do with the breakup of the nucleus family, where most people learned how to fish from their grandpa, et cetera, or their dad. And, so there were a lot of challenges. Plus, we do this a lot rather than go outside. But my point was that was a limited market that could potentially become even more limited. So I knew there was a correlation to the pet industry because I used to deliver to pet shops crickets, but I never had the control over the size of them.
Dad, I'm telling you, Dad. They'll buy more, Dad. I'm telling you, we need to go to pet stores. We need to do reptile stuff. I'm telling you, we need to get an ad in a magazine. I'm telling you, Dad. Oh, I can kind of see it, something like that, because you are exuberant when you have ideas.
That is almost exactly how it happened.
Really? Damn, I'm good. I can't do an impression of you, though, like I can Wayne Hill. Somebody will ask me to do the Wayne impression before we're done, and I will do it because you can appreciate it. I will do it, but before we'll get into it in a little bit. So 1973 it starts. When did it start, the reptile? When was that transition over to like where you feel you went and shot at a 365-day a year business where you were going to have supply all the time? Was that like you said, what, 93?
93, okay, 92, end of 92 is when we sold the hunting club. 93 is when we started getting ready to produce. 97 is probably where I first really,
Okay.
maybe I was putting ads in Reptiles magazine and stuff.
You were
like
close. Fluker had the back page, I know. Forever, ever. In
Yeah.
fact, I could just like blind grab a fucking keep going with that. Tell me about let's see. You said you had business with Fluker, right? That you worked with David some back in the day because he's
From
been
the
around
bait
for a
side.
while.
For the bait
side. For the
we
bait side.
we ran refrigerated trucks down through Mississippi and Louisiana and whatnot. And so we delivered, again, you buy in large quantities, you have to sell them. And so we would run routes down there taking cold worms, night crawlers down there. What are you looking for there, fella?
I was looking at an old Reptiles magazine. Okay. I was just I have every one down here on the shelf for like the first like maybe 12 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just gonna grab one and did shot in the dark and see where the Timberline ad was. But
that would be awesome to see. Our ads were not really very good back then, but we
I'll have to dig one up and actually find one from like the 90s or whatever. But I mean, this is the inside page is a Fluker ad on this one, a green one, obviously.
Yeah.
This green screen sucks for showing magazine. But anyway, it was always cool to see that as a young hobbyist growing up when I'd see like Flukers and they're in Baton Rouge and that's only an hour away from me and they're on the back cover of Reptiles magazine. Ooh,
right.
But and he made all the products, all like the tortoise food and the iguana food and like pellets and all that stuff. And that obviously took some work and some R&D and things like that. I don't think things like that are respected enough in what it takes to get them to market. I think it takes a lot more than a lot of people think to get a product like that to market. So they're doing mostly that, and you're doing mostly this.
Right.
So, Jonathan said, is anybody doing importing butter worms anymore? Whatever butter worms are. I would imagine that would be the Fish and Game was like, no, you can't do that. USDA saying no.
Yeah, but look, nutritionally, they're unnecessary to go through all of the effort to get them here and for them to be irradiated before they leave Chile. You know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, okay.
Cost prohibitive as fuck, it sounds
like. The
like.
benefit of a butterworm was a little larger size grub.
That's it.
You got it in hornworms now, and they're readily available.
Mm-hmm.
I think the cost is too high on them, but that'll
come.
I
think you're right about that. So somebody had actually asked about that here. Ball Pythons 9 said, "We'd love to hear about a hornworm breeding process if it isn't a trade secret."
Boy, I wish it were easy to say. It's not. I will tell you, every insect we grow has been a very long, sometimes painful process.
Fuck you. Always painful process. What do you want me to ask the accountant?
No, that's the whole point. You remember I was talking to you about scaling earlier. Look, what you and I can do in a shoebox in our lab, our closet, wherever, does not equate to building a big shoebox, 100 feet by 50 feet.
That's right.
It doesn't work like that because, first of all, there are aspects you have to get them to reproduce in their perfect environment. Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you that what most people fail to do on hornworms is you have to remember how all of these things mate naturally. Okay, so where are you putting them? Because they're a moth. They've got to fly around. They have to interact.
That's right.
Most people don't do that. Okay, well, you cannot make let me tell you something.
Why am I picturing a butterfly house with Todd in the middle of it? Oh, like Ace Ventura, right? Just fucking glowing with moths all over him and money falling from the sky like a fucking strip club when it's raining. I just see it. I'm sorry. I just see it. As a snake guy, all I see is a snake guy. Todd is buying an expensive rat and putting a piece of shit in my yard attached to a bunch of coconut shavings that I paid a guy to fly from fucking the Pacific Ocean or to bring it over here in a container so that I can let snakes shit in it when I have cypress trees everywhere around me that they're grinding up and sending up north. I feel like a shithead, So you probably
that.
Hopefully you don't feel as much of a shithead. But you said painful process, so it's money I would never comprehend writing a check for R&D that more or less almost seems fruitless at times.
Oh, without question. I mean, but here, let me say this to you, Sean. I know most people think because they've been to these auctions and things, and they look at the way we do what we do, and they believe that somehow we're just raining cash down. It's not true. It's reflective of two things. One, if you're going to be in business, I believe you need to present yourself in a way that is very professional.
Oh, I loved American Beauty. I definitely think you need to portray the what did he say? You know, always selling or whatever his little thing was in American Beauty. That movie was fabulous. And the real estate guy said that, you know, you must always portray success. You just fake it till you make it. I get it. I get it. I mean,
but look, we were in a commodity business.
Mm-hmm.
So do you actually name shop sugar?
No. Well, no. Some people do, but no, I don't.
My point is, if we're in a commodity world, at least we need to conduct ourselves in a way that makes us look professional. So that's why the perception is always that we're just ready to cash down. The other is my life, the way I go about my life. Mm-hmm. I'm not putting a bunch of money away for somebody to live on later. I believe I've been successful, and I'm sharing it, man. Because I
fucking love that right there, dude. Because I don't feel I need to be a snake breeder and buy properties. I don't feel I need to. No. I feel the need. I feel me blowing $250,000 on a fish store dream was great. It was great. I'll tell my accountant, my mom fucking hates me for it because I'm like, oh yeah, remember all that money you gave me back in the day that I used to build this business with? Yeah, I built the business up real big. I sold it all. You know, just like I wanted to do when I was a kid. Remember when I said I was going to own a fish shop one day? Guess what? I did that shit. You know, and I was at the reptile show this weekend, and one of my buddies is like, what the fuck are you going to do now? And I'm like, bro, that's a problem. That's a problem, Todd, because when I was a kid, I was like, I want to own a fish store. I want to have snakes. I want to be a reptile breeder. And I'm like, wait a minute, I did that shit. What am I going to do now? And you know, oh, you're coming back to ball pythons. My neighbors this time have known me from ball pythons for 20 years, like a lot of you have. And I was next to them, and one of them's like, hey, man, when you getting ball pythons again? And we're betting on when that's going to happen. And I'm like, fuck, I hope you didn't take a short bet. I hope you waited for that one. I hope you didn't take leverage on this bet because you might get liquidated, son. I mean, I'm not looking like I'm going to be a ball python breeder any day in any future on any planet in any world. Unless Elon wants me to be the one that does them on Mars, I might think about it. I might kiss my daughter goodbye and say, honey, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I never knew I dreamt of going to Mars, but Elon called. They need ball pythons. Fuck it, I'm going. You know, that's it. I'm going. I'm on a one-way flight to fucking Mars. You know, he would pick me, right? I got an ostomy, dude. I don't have to use a bathroom. I got like, dude, you don't have to. You could put me in a box and ship me around the world as long as there's food and water in it. That's it. I don't need it. Right. So like, send me to Mars. I'm an ideal candidate. I can't walk. I can do the 0G thing. Right. I got it. My bone density doesn't matter anymore. Nobody's given a fuck about it in 10 years. So why does it matter? And sorry, I'm on a tangent because I'm really excited about it.
But let me say this, Sean. Let me let me stop you there and go back for a second because I still believe it's an important life perspective. What are you going to do now? You've done what you always wanted to do. But let me say this. To do what you've always wanted to do and then determine that you don't like it enough to continue doing it, that's smart. Because, man, I'm going to tell you something. Do you understand how many people I encounter every day that go about their business, maybe successfully, but dislike what they do?
Absolutely.
That's horrible, man. I have people say to me, why do you still go to reptile shows? I love being there.
Oh, it's so much fun to have it the way you have it. If I could just bring my flag and fly my flag and give my product away to people so that they come back to me later and appreciate me more and then help everyone. I mean, who doesn't want this Mother Teresa fucking lifestyle that you've got? Right? I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, Mother Teresa didn't need a whole lot. I mean, she didn't need a bus with her picture on the side of it. You know?
Let me tell you where the free crickets came from. Let me tell you why we started doing that at reptile shows. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the way it used to be, I'd go do a reptile show, and there would be 3 or 4 guys in the room doing exactly what I do. So day one, you know how this works because you've seen it happen in reptiles. Day one, maybe they're worth $15.
Mm-hmm.
Day two, you're looking at how much you have left and you're going, okay. So I should reduce the price. Oh, wait, he's 8 over there. Well, I'll be 7 over here because I don't want to take him home. Well, first of all, from a biosecurity measure, none of it's going home with me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that ever leaves
Nothing's
here.
coming.
Okay. But there are twofold. One, if now I'm pulling into question the value of what me and all of these employees have put our effort into doing, creating a cricket, creating insects, whatever, for food. But second of all, people were taking them to their room for a reptile show, and they buy some reptiles at the show, and they try to open a box that's got 1,000 in it to get the feed out. So now we're bad neighbors because there are crickets everywhere.
Fuck, there's crickets everywhere without assholes opening a box.
So I said, well, how about this? How about we stop selling big boxes? Let's give them away to the first 500 people that are there. And then let's have pre-packaged crickets, cups of worms, everything else. Let's put them on the table and let's spend 100% of our time talking about how to better feed your animals. That's why we have all those care sheets. That's why we have all the pie charts to talk about which ones to feed for whatever purpose. Because now we're spending time talking about helping you be successful with a reptile that you've just bought. Maybe it's the first one, maybe it's part of your continuing collection. But at the end of the day, you're going to be a better pet parent. You're going to feed them better, and they're going to live longer, which means that you're in this hobby much longer. So now when you go find and you appreciate what we've done, yeah, we'd certainly like you to choose Timberline. But at the end of the day, we've spent our time more wisely because we've taught people and we've given them what they need, because now we're buying it on Saturday or Sunday. Maybe I don't go to the store till Wednesday. You've got what you need when you leave here. You're fine for a few days. Then you can get yourself set up, get your enclosure set up, get everything set up. That's where the whole free cricket thing came from. That's why we did that.
Now, when would I have seen you in Daytona or Orlando for the very first time at Nerby? When would I have seen you down there at Wayne's show? When would that have been? 90? Would it have been 95? Would it have been that early? I know you said 97, 98 was when you were merged into reptiles, but I distinctly remember you coming in, and I remember the display being this wall of slat wall, this big giant, looked like it was a pain in the dick to set up. And I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking, oh my God, Fluker will never set up anything that nice. I was like, this guy is fucking swinging. These people, first of all, the logo looks like they make something for a finance company. The fucking, and I'm going off on your operation. I'm like, the thing is beautiful. Everything's great. I bet they are expensive as fuck. I bet they're the most expensive crickets in the whole world. I mean, like that whole thing. But I was so enamored by the displays because I grew up in the industry, Todd. So I started working in a pet shop when I was 14. And I never had another job since now. Okay. So like I'm 43. So I'm coming up on 30 years since I went to my first reptile show. It'll be March. It'll be 30 years since I went to my first reptile show. And I honestly have other podcasters making fun of me because I pat myself on the back for all the experiences I've had. Because it didn't matter what the fuck you were doing in the last 30 years, I was doing this. That's all I was doing. I was reading that I was reading this magazine. That's why I have hundreds of them. I have duplicates of most of them because most people that got out of the hobby brought me their reptile magazine collections and gave them to me when they got out because they knew how much I valued my reptiles magazines. I probably have 5 first editions buried in here. I just leave them there. Fuck it. They're not worth anything anyway, right?
Put them in a USARK auction. I should start putting in years of them if I have duplicates or putting them in. That was the thing I told my kid. I'm like, you won't want any of this shit, right? Like she won't want the fucking painted rocks, right? That I've bought like every fucking one of these, right? You got some, Todd. Booster. There he goes. Oh, he's got an eye. Ooh. He's got a newer one than me, I think. I don't know. Something else.
some other crazy shit that I want to touch on before we go. But I want to go back to this question that the whole back rack asked because it was very pertinent and related to what you said about not coming back with stuff. How do you protect your production from cricket pathogens in iridovirus, however you say that, iridovirus, and parasites? First of all, I think the answer is probably the number of fucking buildings you have. But I mean, because you don't know what number that is, or you do know what number that is. How many buildings do you have
on this farm?
Yeah, on that farm.
I'll go with 40 something.
He'll go with 40 something.
Yeah.
I once asked you how many square feet your entire operation encompassed, and you said the average super Walmart was. You started with that. You led in with, okay, the average super Walmart's like 75,000 to 125,000 square feet. I'd say I probably have over 500,000 square feet in.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit. Oh, Baton Rouge isn't even that big. David Fluker's got something coming. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think it's just over. I think it's just over maybe 500,000-600,000 square feet. But I'm building a new farm down the road right now.
Fuck.
Have you never seen a photo of this place?
I've never seen it. I was going to ask you before the show to give me an aerial photograph, but I thought everybody else's cricket dick would go limp when they saw it. Like Gan would watch this, and fucking Fluker would watch this, and all of them would be like, "Whoa." All right,
I don't know.
Got it.
I mean,
man. It's all right. We can always attach it later. I agree. Todd is a genius. Like I said, I led you guys up to this fucking.
Not a genius.
Everybody's watching this Ozzy episode like he's going to drop some gem on how to buy some property and flip it overnight and make 150,000. To the point to where they told me in the comments after the fact, I really wish you let Ozzy talk more about finances. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking serious? We've been breeding snakes for 20-something years, and he had a full-time job. I could give a fuck about what he does with his money. You know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about all the years we've been doing this. That's what I want to have fun with. I don't want to talk about how much money he makes. I don't give a shit about that. I don't care how many houses he's going to have. His wife's going to have to sell when he dies. You know? I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, that's how I look at it. I'm like, all right, my kid will be okay to bury me, buy a house, buy a car, and fuck off a bunch of money. All right, that's fine. She got enough. You know? How many kids you got, Todd?
Three boys.
Three. Are they involved in a company?
My oldest, Zebedee, he is 26, and he works. You know, Andy Pettit, my sales manager. Mm-hmm. He works with him as it surrounds our production schedule related to cups and shipping and all that.
Okay.
My middle one is 22. He lives in St. Louis, works for a software company. My oldest is 18. He's a senior in high school.
Okay. All right. Well. Any interest from the senior or no?
Oh yeah, actually
company business.
They all three have interest in it. Yeah, for sure. My middle one, Hezekiah, the one that's in St. Louis, he has worked here some in our shipping. If you work in shipping, you understand everything about this place with the exception of how it's produced. You understand where it comes from, what the sizing is, how it's supposed to be packed. You know all of that, with the exception of the process to produce it.
Okay, and do you keep these people separated? You got to keep them separated. Hey, you guys can't talk at lunch. You get to sit over there. You get to sit over there. Because if you know what you know and he knows what he knows, then y'all
that's not what I mean. I'm just saying, if you understand how to please customers, you understand how shipping works. Because you have to. I mean, the look is supposed to be crisp. It's not supposed to look like it's been beat up and dirty and all that, even though it's a commodity.
Right.
What does that say?
Pikeline said, honestly, this is more interesting to know how and who runs different parts of the industry than listening to a breeder for the 2nd to 10th time. Great informative show. Todd, when I brought back the podcast, I wanted to do something different because my old podcast was a breeder interview. It was very stale, and now it's beat. When I was doing it in 2015, I was the only one really in the ball python space that was hitting it like I was, and it was fairly fresh. But now, man, I don't have to tell you, this social media. Look, I mean, you know, you were there, right? You were at the social media con for. Did you go to Animal Con?
No.
Shack's thing. You didn't make it to Animal Con.
We sponsored it, but we were actually coming off of back-to-back Daytona and
Pomona or.
No, Super Zoo out in
Vegas. Super Zoo. Yeah. Super Zoo.
I'm not going on the road for 15 days anymore. I'm not.
Right. The Super Show in Vegas, not Super Zoo or Super Zoo.
Super Zoo. Super Show Rami shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So Super Zoo is a pet trade show. So you have every person from every facet of the pet keeping community at Super Zoo. So from dog, cat,
Two shows a year. One is in Orlando, a Global Pet Expo.
Global Pet. Right. And that the one that I've never been to Global. I was supposed to go once and it just didn't work out. And I should go. Like I really should just go for fun because I know Global, it would be fun to go and just see a lot of stuff. I've been to MACNA a few times, right? I've been to MACNA several times. And let's see.
13th.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Did you ask what day it was? Tuesday the 13th?
No. Mike said something about next off topic Tuesday. I want to see my shirt. So apparently he's sending me a shirt. So I'll get a shirt from you next week to wear on the off topic Tuesday. Mike did a show. I sent you the link to it. We had a lot of fun. Such a beast for what he's doing in the space he's doing it in, as are you. So how old are you now?
56.
56. And you're enjoying the hell out of the run, and what you've built with your family and the heritage and stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself carrying through? Like, are we going to see, a Bill Brandt here? Like, we're going to see you continue to fuck with this throughout? Or are you gonna one day be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to Tinley and just hang out and let the kids run this thing? The oldest kid, he's been doing all right. He hadn't fucked it up yet. He hadn't sunk the ship. He only sunk half of it one day. I had to help him, but it's all right.
Let me go back to something you said earlier, because it really is my view. I don't have an urge to go lay on the beach every day and do whatever the heck I want to do. It's not really like that. I have a lot of fun time. I have a farm down the road where I spend time hunting and fishing and hanging out with my family. And so I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and I love the people I'm around. Mm-hmm. So I don't long to get away from it. So I don't see where I'll just one day just throw it all down and go, here you go. And the reason I want to return to what you said earlier is these are still 165 people who I consider family. And I know the more successful we are, the better it is for them. And I take that role seriously just as much as I do worried about how this pet store chain is happy with how we're doing what we're doing. I also want to make sure these people are well cared for and they have a future in front of them at this place.
Exactly my point earlier. Yep. Exactly my point earlier. When I thought I was going to continue to go up, I thought we had a future. But at this point, we're like, dude, you're 23. You were 18 when you started. Now it's time to think about getting something more with more of a roadmap. You know what I mean? Like you need a roadmap. Like let's talk about roadmaps, And obviously a business like yours isn't built overnight. It's not even built in a decade. It's probably not even really built in 2 decades from the sound of it. So there's something I want to touch on with you before we go into a couple of show stories and just bullshit the rest of our way through this episode. What do you see as a company of your size being owned by you, right? I mean, being still owned by the Goodman family, I assume.
Yes.
What do you see of our space becoming more corporate in the future? It's getting attention. It's getting attention from other facets of the pet industry, the fish industry, people from that industry that have a lot of money behind them starting to bleed into this one. I'm speaking mostly about Leap Habitats. I don't know if you've seen Leap Habitats at all, but it's a company that is owned by a big conglomerate called Aperture.
Yeah.
Bertram Capital.
Yeah.
Started in Aperture. They bought the saltwater industry, the entire fucking saltwater industry. And the one business that told them no, they didn't want to sell to them, a small business that's right near me, Coral View in Slidell, Louisiana, Coral View Industries, Max Spec, Ice Cap. Actually, not Max Spec anymore. They took Max Spec from him. He told him no because the offer he was given to buy out his company was an absolute insult to put him and his wife out on their ass after 25 years of building a company. And he said no. So now this company has done everything it can to kill him. They've taken his sales reps. They've taken his lines. They've taken his distribution for things. They've got molds in China being made so that they don't have to buy from him anymore. Where do you see the insect or the rodent or some big money side of this business going to a VC operated thing. Do you see that happening at all in our industry? Because it has happened in every other part of the pet industry.
I don't know. I mean, wait, let me be clear. I've been approached for probably 10 years from VC.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like that Silicon Valley does a real man, talks to a real man, and a real man goes,
I can't imagine any of those people
offering anything other than money.
They don't have a clue what the heck we're doing here.
No, all they're going to do is try to come and streamline you and fuck you in the long run of you being able to know what you were doing.
Well, at the end of the day, believe me, when I'm done, if that were to happen when I were done, I would have been done. But that's not my point. My point is, look, we can't afford as an industry for them to fail. Okay. Our cost of production, if we're really caring about nutrition, will go up, not down.
Right.
Okay. It just will go up simply because of nutrients alone. Okay. Ingredients are very expensive and they're never really going to go down.
And every time you see an increase in freight, there'll be an increase in cost price to balance it when freight goes down. It'll still say that same elevated price.
Well, there's no economy of scale there when it comes to that kind of thing. Whether you're doing 50 ton or 200 ton, there is no real economy of scale on that. So my point for telling you that is, at the end of the day, we can't afford for the production to go down for the number of animals that are still. I mean, obviously, we cut a big path through the pet industry with what we produce. And I'm building another farm down 6 miles down the road. Phase 1 will be done this coming year, and it's 11 more buildings. Now, that is an assurance farm where, okay, back to her question about pathogens and all that.
Right.
We have a testing protocol we use.
Okay.
We have a complete biosecure approach here. Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay. Everybody that comes in is foot bathed. Every truck that comes in is tire sprayed. Mm-hmm. Our own packages can't come back here. There's foot baths all over this entire place. Our place is built to be sprayed and
what's in the foot bath?
We use
oval sand.
No, we're using a parvovirus treatment and bleach because
I was going to ask about the tires coming on the trucks. When you said that, I just thought parvovirus, but
because the cricket virus that started back many years ago that originated in Europe is a parvovirus. That's why.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, she knows that shit. I don't know that shit. I'm just a shitty podcast host. I don't know.
So that's kind of how that it's kind of a. Mm-hmm. We just have protocols that don't make it very easy to work. So, for instance, we come home from a reptile show. You know, that big crate that you've seen us fill up so many times. That entire crate gets sprayed down with bleach when it comes in.
Right.
If you were let's say that a veterinarian were coming to visit here, they can't visit another insect type farm for 48 hours before here. They have to be wearing freshly laundered clothes, and their shoes have to be able to go through a foot bath. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's everybody that comes here. You cannot enter our place as an employee without walking through a 6x5 foot bath. You simply can't jump it. You can't go around it. There's no way around it. And as you go into every department, you do the same thing.
I love it. Ah, man, tell you what. What do everybody's shoes look like around there?
Let me answer her other question. Her question. The way the other viruses and pathogens and everything, we're always spraying with bleach, and we're always pressure washing with bleach and parvovirus type cleaners.
Facility, that's fascinating. I knew a guy who raised chameleons I think he was in North Carolina, Davidson Dragons. His name was Leonard. He went by Leonard Davidson. He was a quirky little fucker. And and he used to raise crickets. And he did, dude, he had the best veil chameleons in wholesale all through like 2000, 2005 in there. You'd buy $35 veils and they'd come in this big and they were perfect every time. He only shipped US Postal. It was like old school as shit. You know, I'd tell him, man, Postal for me in Covington, Louisiana, they only get one postal delivery a day.
Yeah.
So that means that a 1 day overnight shipment is 2 fucking days. It's never 1 day. It's a 3-day process. It's never a 2-day process, you know? And it's like, fuck, man. But they would come in so healthy. And I'd call him and be like, dude, what do you do with these chameleons? And he said, man, fuck country, man, I'll tell you what, Sean. I'll tell you anything you want to know about raising a veil chameleon, but don't you ask me one fucking lick about no cricket, son. I will not tell you shit about how to raise no fucking cricket, because my secret is me raising them goddamn crickets. And it's not me raising the big crickets, because I could buy big crickets for cheaper than I can raise big crickets. It's me raising them little motherfuckers, because none of them assholes in crickets get none of my money. None of them. And I'm like, all right, bro. And that was it. At $35, I'd get a dozen of them shipped to me, Todd, every fucking week. I would blow them bitches out. I think I probably sold 200 here before no pet shop anywhere around here could fucking sell a veil for like 4 more years. I done flooded it. If you want a chameleon, you done already got one. Or you said, I'm not buying a light, and I told you to get the fuck out. You know, one of the two. But
they were
biosecurity.
That's the key.
Biosecurity is key. Biosecurity is key. You know who else I'm friends with and I'm going to have on an off topic Tuesday? It might be kind of interesting. It's one of the head guys at Reed Mariculture who makes phytoplankton for all of your inland fish hatcheries. If their phytoplankton goes down, we starve. Like, you start to see it on the grocery shelves. If their fucking green water dies. And you know what? They raise all the infusoria and all that kind of, all those type of things for the fish hatcheries and the oyster hatcheries, because they can't do it themselves because they suck at biosecurity so bad. They can't raise the product and the food, because then they end up having a problem with the food and not a problem. You know what I mean? Like, they can't do it all. So they have to let Reed Mariculture. If you guys have saltwater aquariums, you'd know them as Reef Nutrition. Reef Nutrition is how they do business in the reef world. They have a whole company just for the aquarium community, and then the rest of the company serves phytoplankton and copepods, pods, you know, plankton, live plankton to the hatcheries business. And it is unbelievable to talk to Chad about biosecurity in that operation, just like your operation. You know, how successful are you at excluding wild native arthropods from your building? Tough questions this girl asked. I'm telling you, dude, don't go on the show unless you're ready to sit there and go.
Very, very, you have to be. And it's all about how the building is, skirted with concrete and whatnot, and how you care for the outside.
Okay. So
yeah.
You're basically treating the outdoor area, sealing up as many cracks as you can.
Not chemically. I'm just saying you have to create space that you're willing to keep clean. So
so like negative space, just zero dead area, like square footage unused by stuff, like, so no racks sitting against a wall where it can get super funky behind it and be all a place.
Well, this is actually talking about stuff coming from outside the building.
That's what I mean, a place for spiders and stuff to hang out behind racks and all that type of thing.
No. I mean, I wish you had a picture of our place. You'd get a better understanding of how it's laid out.
Okay.
Hold
it up in front of the camera. It's fine.
Well,
I can always get one from you later and put it up and link it in the description of this, because a lot of people will listen. You know, it's fine. We can link it later.
Did that answer that question?
I hope you answered that question. I think you answered that question good enough for me. Good enough for this shit show. All right. Yeah. Fry, hey, I will take this chance to say hello from another Australian down there in Oz listening on your afternoon. I hope you had a nice day at work. Since it's like, what, fucking 2 o'clock, you're still at work? Or do you guys, look at this. I'd love a video tour. So would everyone else that sells crickets against him. I'm sure they would all love a video tour.
I feel like I know, well, I mean, there's pictures of the outside as far as what the whole farm looks like. I really think That may be on our web. I don't know.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
I don't toot my own horn well at all. So
no, you don't. You're too modest for that. That's why I'm here tooting it for you, because Brian Cusco couldn't do it for longer than 15 minutes. Well, everybody's working that.
That was at a show.
I know. That was a great show though. Like, you guys packed a lot of great info about Timberline in 15 minutes.
Yeah, good.
Without that 15 minutes, I might not have been able to expound as much as I did. Because honestly, I didn't ever learn all that much about the bug business, because I've been learning about every other fucking thing I've been learning about for the last whatever. I was trying to see on your site if it said Timberline Tour. Yes, indeed. Timberline Tour. I don't know if this is the Timberline promo. It's got a behind the scenes look. Maybe it's got some information on it. So Jessica, maybe go check that out, that video on YouTube. I don't know. It's not going to play sound through you guys. Yeah, it shows a few things. I'm skipping on through it. Like, yeah, it shows them packing stuff. Look at all that 80/20. Why you spend a lot of money on that? That's a cool machine. That's just taping boxes. You got to love people that are just like, I'm going to take, that's what I would like to do. Just take a bunch of metal and like make something and be like, yeah, when you're done with this box of crickets, it'll be completely taped up and it'll be, and that'll be $18 million.
That easy. I wish it were that easy.
Yeah, right.
There's just a lot of labor involved in both the growing and the packaging. But again, back what I say, it's why we tried, like, we work with FFA groups, because we want people to understand we're farmers, just a different kind of farmer.
Yeah. Well, and also, given the size of your operation, the scope of your operation, you need to be considered agricultural tax-wise, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, doesn't work.
No, doesn't work that way for you? Fuck, man. Too bad the loyalty for Marion, Illinois is there, because there's plenty of places in this country that would love to have you and pay the fuck out of you to be there. You know that, right? Too many
buildings to pack up and tote away, dude.
I had a guy at the local reptile show this weekend telling me about these economic zones that they've got now that are considered development and undeveloping. And if you're in these areas, you can get all these grants and shit. And his company literally rents spaces specifically in those areas just to get the grants. It was very inspiring. I was like, yeah, it sounds great. Sounds like they never give money to a guy in this business.
I will say this for you, because I think it's important. We don't work in the grant world.
Right.
We don't do anything like that. And when the whole nameless period went on, we didn't do the whole government money thing. No.
Right.
We kept doing what we do, and it felt wrong to go ask for money.
Oh, because you're in business increase. Let's just be honest here.
Well, yeah, but we never stopped. I mean, we nothing changed except we had to wear a mask, and
Right. And that's probably better for all your health in a rodent, and an insect facility anyway. So, you probably sucked up a little less dust that way.
But a little
less cricket shit atomized itself into your sinus.
They wanted to know if we wanted to be in an enterprise zone or whatever, and I just go, look, man, I don't want the strings, and frankly, I'll risk it, and I'll take the reward if we get it.
I commend that, though, honestly, because there was a lot of businesses that needed PPP, and there's a lot of businesses that didn't even need to come near it. Really. I have a friend that does pyrotechnics, explosives, fireworks. That was dead. They lost $375,000 in a week, the first shutdown week.
Yeah.
Because they do it for the Saints football team, LSU football. The river in New Orleans, the New Orleans lakefront, fireworks on the barge done by them. Literally, he's coming to work every day. He's like, dude, the president's got to stop the bleed, bro. Something's got to happen. Something's got to stop the bleed, dude. We lost $300,000. He came in one day and he was like, my accountant just got back to us. We had a meeting today and we've had $375,000 in cancellations. And I'm like, fuck. So yeah, they PPP'd like a motherfucker now. Yeah. But they had to, right? Their employees would have lost everything. Everybody would have lost everything because the entire business dried up. Couldn't have a wedding, couldn't have a funeral, couldn't have a fucking thing. It's bad when you can't have a funeral, To
your other point, yes, obviously, whenever through that period, the pet industry did suffer a bump. Let's face it, people spend more time at home, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, it was a finite number of animals because the extra animals couldn't be produced in perpetuity in fast enough. Of course, the pet industry, just like any right now, is kind of taking a little bit on the chin. But at the end of the day, We've been very fortunate as an industry and as a company to make it through all of this stuff. And hey, it's all about the way you wake up and view the world every day. And I view it very positively.
You do. And you shared quite a few nuggets of wisdom like that along the way with me over the years, and I truly appreciate it. I can't say that I did much better for my life by using the nuggets to build on, but at the same time, the takeaway has always been good. And whenever I told you that you were so modest back in the day, you told me that your 10,000 feet thing, whatever you say about being up in the air or whatever and looking down and seeing
5,000 feet.
5,000 feet. Okay, go ahead. Give it
If you want to believe you're important and that your little kingdom is incredibly important, just get up to 5,000 feet and look how small your kingdom is.
Yeah.
So, don't take yourself so seriously, for heaven's sakes. I've always said that. I don't care who you are. You don't get the opportunity to just be better than people because you've decided you are.
Yeah, I think all of us have those moments in life. Some of us actually have podcasts that are recorded them at one point, and they're everywhere.
Well,
some of us had 500,000 people listen to them, but it's okay. Some of us just kind of swept it under the rug and just and said, I never did that. I never did that. Anybody ever see me do that? No, nobody ever saw me do that. Mustn't have done it. Sean, on the other hand, what episode? Just look, close your eyes and point. Like, that's it. You'll find one. But really, when you have a soapbox like the world and it's free by hitting a fucking button, I mean, come on. That's a little bit too intoxicating at times. And I think I'm not the only podcaster that's found that out.
Right.
I'm not.
I understand.
I'm not. And I don't mean that in a reptile sense. I'm not targeting anybody in particular. I mean in the world sense.
Oh, sure.
Imagine the voice Joe Rogan has.
Yeah.
That motherfucker never imagined his voice would be that volted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking volted. Like, hey, I want to have you on. Like, really, honestly, who is he not? Or who told him no at this point in time, right? So you see a podcaster has ascended to that level, and it's pretty interesting. I like the guy. I really do like the guy.
I think it gives people an opportunity to explore different things. Let me ask you this. Would you have believed that Howard Stern would end up being as incredible of an interviewer as he is?
Oh, he's incredible. He was always great.
He was never known for his intellect.
Mm-hmm.
He was known for the shock. But in fact, he's an incredibly talented guy that's found a whole new way to go. And I think that stuff's incredible. I could never do it, but I appreciate that.
Well, broadcasters have it in. Like, I can do this. Like, doing this for 2.5 hours a week with you guys twice a week, I can do. Obviously, I've talked a lot more in my week than just that 5 hours. But knowing me, a lot more than just that 5 hours. But at the same time, to be able to reach you guys, to be able to look at YouTube again and see no real footage of you talking like this, and then have this one guy, it's that one comment. That's all I needed for all this. I don't need any subscribes. You guys go unsubscribe, go unlike it, unnotification bell, deselect all of it. Just unselect all of it. All of you, every one of you, 650, whatever of you, just do it. Just fucking wipe it and see how fast I quit doing this with people like him. Think I give a fuck about that? No. Only reason I have the sponsors is because I got tired of telling motherfuckers that I didn't know if I wanted any sponsors. So I just started saying yes, and money started coming in. So I accepted it, right? And I moved on. And now my sponsors have my back. And if they don't have my back, they can get off and I'll get another one, right? Because there's other ones waiting that I have been telling no to because I don't want to look any more like fucking NASCAR than I am right now. Unless I took on like you, an industry leader, a tier 1 sponsor, which I don't need and you don't need. So we don't need to even discuss it. But I want to tell you guys that there are tier levels of distribution in businesses. And this is the first, the only, hang on, let me think. No. Since we brought back the video, the first tier 1 guy. The last guy would have been Mike Lehman. The guy before him would have been Bill Brandt. So, I mean, you're in good category, right? Thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, I don't know about Mike Lehman. Let's not give Mike all that much credit.
I didn't even know there were tiers, so I don't.
Well, you know, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Like tier 1, you're selling directly to the big dogs like Petco, PetSmart, them. Then tier 2, we are selling to you. You're selling to them, right?
Oh, I get what you mean.
Okay. So just regular distribution, like you'd have in any business, any distribution business that most people talk about tiers and supplying as far as flow to the big outlet, right? So he sells, folks, you need to understand, he sells directly to Petco, PetSmart, Pet Supplies Plus, probably many others. I don't know who else you do, but I'm sure you do many stores. And so when we get to the point where you're like, oh, fuck Petco, I wish there wasn't any Petcos anymore. No, you don't. How many Petco stores are there, Todd? Do you think? What's it, 1,600? Something like that? 15,
yes,
16?
I would say somewhere
something
around
like that.
14, 15, yeah.
1,500 stores, and each store gets let's say let's do this math real quick. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this up real fast.
Well, not all of your stores sell live food, but let's call it 1,200 that do.
So let's say 1,200 stores. Let's say they see an average of 200 people a day in all of them across all days of the week. 240,000. That's a lot of reptile shows, bro. That's a lot of exposure time, bro. You feel me? They're open 7 days a week, and they stuck the reptiles out so far, you got to trip over them to get to the dog food.
True.
And it's their highest profit area in the store, is it not? With bugs and food, mice, rats, supplies. I think they make more money profit-wise on reptiles proportionally. Obviously, they make more money on dog food because they sell 8 fucking tons of it. But proportionally, you'd say that the reptile section in those stores is strong?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say the reptile segment in the pet industry and therefore in their stores has been on an increase for 15 running years.
On a steady increase.
Yeah.
Despite viral things, despite shutdown things, it's been that steady of an incline for the big box stores. So if we say, guys, that big box stores see 250,000 hobbyists a year, and 250,000 hobbyists a year are basically, or no, 250,000 hobbyists a day. I'm sorry, not a year. 250,000 hobbyists a day through every Petco. Let's just say they're doing more for our industry than you think they are, right? I mean, and when I go there and I see Timberline foods for sale, I feel fucking great when I see you blow the money you blow at USARK auctions, dude. About what on average do you spend on donation items when you head to a USARK auction? I know you don't even care about that, but let's just say it's 10 grand, 15 grand, 5 grand. I mean, there's computers, there's gaming systems, there's all kinds of weird shit that comes up. Sometimes it's drones.
I don't know. I've never.
Who buys all that shit? You got an employee just to buy fucking donations? You buy it all?
I buy it all. I have a room. I'm always looking for really cool stuff, and I just have a room back here in this building.
I have shit littering in my room. You have a room. I have some stuff in this room.
It's a server room, but it's also a storage room in the back, and it's just full of auction stuff.
Right. So is it like me when I die, my family's commanded to donate the entire lot back to USARK for an auction?
Most likely. Believe me.
Good. That's what mine is. Mine is, Bo, you can pick out one thing and the rest goes to USARK. You get one thing. It's like fucking some, shopping at the aunt's house that didn't want to buy each individual gift. Each one of you gets one water gun.
Most of it's got USARK's name on it already. I mean, it's just, and
yeah,
it's to me, taking stuff to those auctions and being part of those auctions and making sure those auctions go well. And you know what? A good auction not only raises money, but people are entertained and the hobby is promoted. And that's what I was just at Croc Fest this last weekend down in
right.
And again, they don't eat bugs, but at the end of the day, it's raising money for research for crocodilians.
Honestly, that's a fascinating group of people, though, right? Because Kirk was there, right? The lawyer, right? I love him because I never knew him, but he and I worked the first Iguana Fest donation booth at the front for Ty when he had the first Iguana Fest down
I was there. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
you were there. And
Yeah.
me and Kirk were working in the front. We were, it's really funny because this little hippie kind of lesbian looking chick came up smelling like patchouli and had underarm hair. And she puts this giant box of stuff on the counter and she says, "Is this where we donate the stuff for the auction to help Ty and Iguana Land?" And we were like, yeah. Well, dude, it was a bunch of random Asian shit from this white, goofy hippie girl's apartment, like dragon candle holders and all this stupid garbage. It looked like you went to San Francisco Chinatown and you went on a fucking shoplifting fest. That's what it looked like. It was a bunch of random shit. So wait, Kirk and we were just getting to know each other. It was blazing hot. Ty, being the amazing benefactor he is, gave us all Gildan heavy cotton t-shirts to wear. I'm like, Ty, did you want us all to be topless, bro? Was that the idea? Was tits for iguanas?
It was
I almost died 3 times that day, bro. I had to go sit in my car 3 different times and cool off. I really, Todd, if I went there right now and experienced that day, I think I would have had a problem. Like, y'all would have had to have me like hella lifted out of there. My heart would have shut down. It was bad. Like, I was going into some serious fucking heat because my body doesn't move. And so, like, I don't cool off like you cool off. Like, I still sweat.
Yeah.
I'm not like dude, a lot of quadriplegics don't sweat. You don't know that, but they don't sweat anymore. Yeah. If it's a high injury up here, your sweat glands won't work anymore, just like the rest of you. So you actually have to wear, like, if you're in heat like that, you're dead. You're fucking dead. But if you're in a regular heat, like in the shade in the summer in the South, you have to wear like a vest that's got tubes in it and they hook it up to an ice chest. And it's actually like a cooler, a chiller that chills your torso.
What?
Yeah. If you're in extreme heat because you have no sweat gland, you will not sweat. I have a friend that he's very quad. He races cars. He's quad, but he races cars, but he needs a fucking goddamn thermos to wear in the summer, with cold water. But yeah, so like that day was really rough. So, of course, Ty really did fuck us with those Gildan heavy cotton shirts. I was like, are these supposed to double as a towel and a shirt? Because they weigh like 5 pounds at the end of the day. So anyway, we're up there. We're like, dude, we're fucking dying. So we're just trying to get to know each other in this blistering heat. And this girl walks up with this box of shit. And we look at each other and the girl walks off and we're like, what are we going to do with this? Like Tom Crutchfield had just dropped off a $5,000 pair of iguanas in an ancient old shitty pet carrier that he dug out of a fucking box at his facility that had a crack over the side that was covered with a fucking Band-Aid. I'm not lying.
I believe it. I'm not
lying. Fucking $5,000 pair of iguanas.
I think
I bring him to an auction, and that's what he puts them in. That's Tommy though. That's Tommy though. That's Tommy's genera, his era, and his genera of reptile, of herper, right? Like there's them, and then there's everybody since 1978, right? And so that's it. Kirk says, I got it. And he gets out the sheet, the donation sheet, and at the top of the sheet, he writes it down and he hands it to me. And it says, auction item, miscellaneous Asian crap from around Ty's house. Oh my fucking God. It was a silent auction. I don't know if somebody bid on it. Somebody did bid on it. And Kirk's like, should we tell him? And I'm like, no. I was like, when you introduce it, if you have to introduce it, you better introduce it as random. It said at the top, random Asian crap from around Ty's house. And I was like, holy fuck, this was great. So yeah, Kurt is the leader of the Croc Fest crew, right? He's the lawyer for the Croc Fest crew, right? Because he's a lawyer in real life. He's a crocodile keeping lawyer. I know a shark keeping lawyer here in New Orleans. Only guy I know that's possibly badder than Kirk. Yeah. But really, he's not badder than Kirk because Kirk's shit can kill you in and out of the water. The shark, unless it's Sharknado, you don't really have to worry about it.
He works with USARK Florida too.
Right. Yeah, he works heavily with USARK Florida as a lawyer. So yeah, what's his last name, Kirk? Do you know his last name offhand?
Herbsmeyer.
Herbsmeyer.
Yeah. Okay.
So great guy. Wonderful stuff. So I'm glad you were at CrocFest to support it.
Yep.
Do you have I hate to say this. It's 2 hours and something in, and they won't listen, I promise. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite what?
Show, expo, event, thing to go to that you're like, yeah. I mean, you can even say it's not related to the reptile industry if you want to completely save face. It's fine. But I don't know if you had a favorite like Croc Fest because it's in Florida and it's not in August.
It's the first time I'd ever been to Croc Fest. I've supported it for years. I've just never been there.
Never been.
As far as shows go, no, I don't really, because we're heavily involved with IHS too.
Right.
Program, which I love that. I love TTPG because it is.
Yeah, I see you're heavily involved in TTPG, guys. So that's the show that's only for tortoise and turtle people. And I would love to attend that.
The commonality in all of those things we've just said is the gathering together of people that are very passionate about that part of our hobby, but they're in person sharing information.
Right.
That's my concern with IHS going forward. I said, guys, you'd like me to support you, and I'm willing to support you. But my concern is that I'm looking at a room full of people who may very well be gone in the next 10 years.
Exactly.
So if we're going to value
the only participants at that level are the
we're going to value the interface of people face to face, then we're going to have to foster it into the junior herpers, and that's what we've done. Right. This year in Atlanta, there were a bunch of junior herpers there. I love TTPG because it gets people together to talk specifically about turtles and tortoises and things, and it's an in-person thing. As far as
and when otherwise did it happen other than Daytona on a Friday night for an hour?
Yeah, and they don't even do those anymore.
And they don't even do that anymore because.
So, but as far as shows go, man, I don't know if I have favorites. I'm not being political. I'm telling you, I love being at reptile shows.
Yeah, I know you do.
I love the community of friends that we have, and we spend a lot of time together at those shows because it's just a fun bunch of people surrounding things that people enjoy doing that may also happen to be a business.
Honestly, dude, I always knew that, and I never, ever, ever, never bothered to spend a lot of money as a professional going to a show just to go to a fucking show until I hung out with you and I was pissed about something once, and you said, why are you always coming to this and bringing business with you? Why don't you just come and enjoy it? And I'm like, when he asks you that shit, it makes you think. Everybody else, I've got an excuse. But over there, I'm looking at him grin at me and be like, waiting for the answer. Like, come on, brilliant motherfucker. Give me the tool of the universe here. I know you're going to unlock it for me right now, and you're not gonna. And I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to be right, and I'm going to be comfortable and happy and modest and smile. Fuck. You know how many people I've seen happy in this industry, not happy at one point, and I've never seen you not happy? Not even when they ran out of Grey Goose were you not happy. And by the way, we did discuss that pre-show. The man and his staff and the reptile community as a whole has drank hotels dry of fucking Grey Goose, where everything gone. Like gone. Every kitchen, every little stash, room service. I'm sorry.
Again, the auctions are not only a place to raise money, it's where you make memories, and it's a big part of the whole show experience. Whether you're behind the table or in front of the table, it doesn't matter. It's a great experience. That's what was tried to foster them.
I don't even drink, and Kim Bell's Jello shots with marinated cherries in them are absolutely insane. I mean, that's it. I mean, when Kim brought the fruit that was infused with Everclear before it was put into the Jello shot to the show, and she made a ton. That was Daytona, I think. She made like fucking 5 because she could drive them. She wouldn't have to fly them. She was like, I'm going to drive these. I weigh way too many. She made like 5,000. I think the entire auction got fucked on those Jello shots. I think. You guys, if you haven't gone to a reptile show, Raven said it. I just like these beautiful bunch of awesome people. And I totally agree with you, because when I fell off this deck that's 10, Todd, I fell. There's a wall, like I'm pointing, I'm almost touching the wall. I fell on the ground and broke my back 2 feet on the other side of this wall. And honestly, when my ex found me and my neighbor came over and we're waiting on the ambulance together, and I looked at her and I said, I will never walk again.
Wow.
I want you to know I will never. And I've talked to other paras and quads since, and spinal cord injury, like your brain knows. You're like, nope. We're not all as lucky as our good friend Ton, who I also hope to have on this show. Maybe you can help me get Ton Jones on this show, because I think it would be fabulous to hear from good Ton.
It'd be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great thing. He's such a wonderful man, such a giant baby. I have a picture of him when he was still fat, when he was super chubs. And he was holding my daughter when she was at that age, because my daughter's a skinny little, tall, little, she's skinny, and she's a little dainty little white thing, right? But she was in that fat roll, like where the babies get the cheese in their neck and shit. And I got a picture of Chubby Ton holding Chubby Bo in Daytona, and it's like the best picture in the world of Ton. And fondly noted that dude. I did not know the dude when he was on TV, on Spike TV, on Storage Hunters Wars, fucking whatever it was. Game of Storage Thrones, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't even know. They've got a million names for this.
He would be fun.
I think he would be fabulous, because now the man, not only was he a TV show guy that did he'd Venom in Vegas, and then he did the thing with the storage thing. Like I asked him about the storage thing. I was like, is that co-star of yours really as much of a prick as he seems? He was like, dude, it takes me everything I got. I have to shove that fucker in one of those lockers and shut it and lock it. And I'm like, that must suck. It must suck to be have to deal in showbiz with a partner you got to pretend to have been buddies with forever. And that's how much it sucks. But I never realized the guy was such a giving person, which also means loads for you. Your connection with Ton, he must have got some of that from you. I don't know. He must have, because he's such a great guy. He helped me out. He donated so much to my auctions with Limey. That's how I got to know him. And Chris Nettles at C-SERPENTS, same thing. Did so much for me. Dude, I just came from Fish, where I watched 2 huge guys die. Huge. If they would have died in reptiles, we'd have had a fucking show with a procession down the middle of talking huge. And they got some mentions, and everybody feels bad, right? And everybody's sorry. But they're all real passive people. They're fish people. They're all like, let's give them, And one of them was actually on that flight with Dave. I don't know if you've heard about that. I'm sure you did, with Dave Kaufman. One of the guys was a YouTuber. His name's Jake Adams. I strongly urge you guys to go check it out. It's a great channel if you want to learn about reefs. The name of the channel is called Reef Builders. It is a very, very well produced podcast show. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen. This is Jake right here. Now, Jake was in this picture. This looks fairly older. Jake was about my age, 44 years old. He boarded a flight to Bali with Dave Kaufman, and who was that went with Dave? What's his name? The other dude that does the YouTube stuff. Anyway, I watch him. He's cool. They were on the flight with him, with Jake, and Jake died on the flight. There still hasn't really been much released that I know of. I'll have to dig back and see what the cause of death is if they released it.
That's horrible.
But actually, he recognized Dave. Now, he has 109,000 subscribers, so he's not small in the community at all. Like, he's significantly sizable. In saltwater, he's a very big name. He runs a show. He has an expo in Denver, Colorado, and in Australia, which I thought was fabulous. I always wondered, why doesn't NARBC start a show in Europe and like really go out there and be like, fuck you guys, we know how to do it. Like, that's what he did. He was like, I know how to do it. I'm going to do it in Denver, and then we're doing this shit in Cairns or wherever they did it in Florida. And dude, I mean, in Florida, in Australia, the guy was somebody, Todd. And he saw Dave Kaufman when they were getting on the jet in LAX and ran over like a fanboy to Dave. And Dave had no idea who he was, he said. He said, I didn't know who Jake was, but he sure as fuck knew who I was. And I had a star tortoise that was supposed to go live at this facility with these reef tanks. Because his whole facility is just like this, Todd. It's all curio tanks that are all set up with different equipment and different stuff. Cool. And it is like this is a fraction of it. He probably has 30 tanks that look this good. Like, it's amazing the work that they put into this building to keep all these systems, because he's running like 15 different systems in there. But yeah, man, he passed away, and Dave reached out to me and said, do you know Jake? I said, yeah, I know Jake. And he said, you know how to get in touch with his family? Because we need to talk. So I put him in touch with somebody that put him in touch with, hopefully, with their family. So, Dave's like, dude, because I just watched him die on the plane. Like, and I had heard he died, and then Dave hit me up. Like, I literally heard that he passed away, and an hour later, it was like 6 a.m. and Dave woke up over there and messaged me. And I was like, holy fuck, man, that world is so small. The world of us is so small, bro. So fucking small.
Crazy.
Yeah. So who's your ride or dies? You go to shows with Brian. Y'all still going to NRA shows and shit
Oh
together?
yeah. We do all those. We do
Shot show. You go to Shot.
Oh,
you go to Shot.
No. I've been to Shot Show one time. I always said if you want to
explain it to me. You explain it to me. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you want to go to the shows, you can see a micro version of the show, but everybody you see at SHOT Show, you can see them at the NRA convention.
Exactly. And you see even more. You see all the cool shotgun people and the cool revolver people and shit, not just the tactical people.
But that's the way to go.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So what were you going to say about the Pomona show earlier? You said, remind me to tell you the story about the Pomona show.
It wasn't the Pomona show.
I'm sorry, the Anaheim show. The Anaheim
Super show in Anaheim.
Show.
Okay. Let me tell you something. I've never seen a show like it. It was the first one there coming out of all the craziness. And what happens is, so this line, it's very apparent in that convention center because we're in Hall A. It's very apparent when we get there the first morning that this is not going to be like normal shows. What I mean is the line ultimately extended from the beginning of that convention center all the way to the end of it into a side room, squared the room, and came back out.
I thought you were going to tell me they were lined up to Morton's Steakhouse.
I'll guarantee you it could have reached Morton's.
It could have reached it if it was an exterior. If it was an outside line, it could have reached Morton's Steakhouse. All right, guys. It was the same facility as the NARBC Anaheim show. So it's the Disneyland Hilton Marriott complex.
Yeah, the
convention center.
Orange County Convention Center. And I'm telling
you,
there was a line until 2:30 in the afternoon. And I am not kidding you when I tell you that by noon, 12,000 people had been in the door. That's 2 hours into the show. It was the most crazy thing I've ever seen. I've never experienced, even when we were in Orlando.
Did they have a number on that show? Was it like, what, 30, 35K? Did he even clock it? Could you even?
I don't know. And I don't even remember how I knew that number exactly because, they never really go over those numbers. But I can tell you it was a crazy show. But let me explain to you why I even told you that. I didn't mean to tell you that for the purpose of sensationalizing.
Now let's sensationalize it. Fuck, it was right after the storm, so it was fine. It was right after the storm.
That was it. That was the emerging interest.
Yeah, it was the culmination of interest because all these people had been jammed at home, and then you have this giant show. And that's a great facility. It's beautiful. It's got its own vibe. I love that facility. I wish I want, you know what? I want to vend that show just so I could stay there. I don't know why. I just enjoy it. I just enjoy staying there. There's always some Ferrari or a Lambo or a Porsche or Audi supercar in the fucking turnstile of the Hilton. There's always fireworks at Disneyland, and my room is on the 7th floor next to the pool with all the water slides and shit.
Nice.
The handicap room has 2 entrances, a poolside entrance and the other entrance, and I can watch the fireworks. I got a room. Like, I know what room. I have the room number written down, so when I call, I can make the room number reservation so I can have that fucking room.
Nice.
Right? And I ask them to move somebody if they're already there. I'm like, listen, I've been there before. I'm paralyzed. I know that room works. Same thing with Marwan, right? Marwan is the manager of the Arlington Sheraton.
Yep.
Marwan always took care of me. Hey, Marwan, it's Sean in the wheelchair with the snakes. Oh, my friend, I got room number 30, whatever it was for you. I got it. No problem. Hey, my cab driver in Chicago that picks me up at the airport every time in the handicap cab. He messed. Look, I started messing with crypto last year, so I downloaded fucking Telegram because I got to keep up with all this bullshit, social media crap, Twitter and all that now. As soon as I log into Telegram, fucking Bayou, the taxi driver from Tanzania that lives in Chicago, hits me up. My friend, are you still selling snakes? I have not seen you in years. He's like, I'm so worried about you. Something happened. I'm so worried about you. Call me on the phone. And I'm like, dude, I'm fine. I just haven't been back to Tinley. But as soon as I come back, I'll give you a call. So it even it put me in with these people, right? I mean, it put me in with all these
good people, Sean. That's what I'm saying. These people in these hotels, in these convention centers where we go, they're good people and they love seeing us come.
Oh, yeah.
They know we do what we do in a very positive way.
Yeah, I remember like the security people at Tinley because they always look at us funny, right? We'll round this out here. in a second. But, they always look at us funny, especially that little lady, the little older lady. She's just not tolerant at all. But the big fat guy that's been there for like 15 years, right? He's always been very cool for me. Like, very cool. I've seen him get tough with people at Tinley.
You're talking about the big tall guy, Danny.
The really wide guy that kind of used to lumber around.
Big guy, yeah.
No, I'm talking a fat guy. The guy that looks like, yeah, he was very obese, morbidly obese.
Oh,
very obese.
But Danny, who's been at the convention center side, man, he's a great guy too.
Oh yeah, for
We've
sure.
been going there.
Is Jennifer still in the convention center office in the front? The blonde?
I don't know. I don't know the people in the front office.
Oh, okay. Because dude, I used to check into that hotel, and I'm a schmoozer. If you don't schmooze, you lose. That's my opinion. You really have to schmooze. Schmoozing is a way of life. It's like My Blue Heaven, right? I don't just believe in tipping. I believe in over tipping, right? Okay. Like that was, you remember My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin? No?
Long time ago, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When movies were movies. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I believe in over tipping. So I flirt up the night check-in girl. Tell her how pretty she is and how good she is at her job and how bubbly she is and how presentable she is in a non-sexist way. And then I make a friend. And then I make a friend. The next year I see her and I'm like, oh, you're still here. Oh, you're still here. Oh, you're still here. Then I break my back. Oh, it's Sean. I used to come in and I broke my back. No way. Turns out 5 years down the line. And I told her whenever I went, oh, that was it. I called when I broke my back. And I said, you're still working a check-in desk. She's like, yeah. I said, you've been there for what, 3 years? And she's like, 3.5 years. And I'm like, okay. When are you getting an upgrade? You're great at this job. You're very good at it. You're so good at it. You've done it for 3 years. The next time I fucking call for a reservation, if you answer the phone, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I mean, really, I'm going to ask you for your dad's phone number and your dad and I are going to have a talk about where you fucking went wrong. Because I don't understand it. And then the next time I called, Gina answered. Gina's been there forever at the front desk, right? Because who could forget? Damn, Gina, when you lock yourself out of your room, right? You go up to the counter and you're like, yeah, let me guess. Damn, Gina. And let me get you another card. Gina answered, and I'm like, is Jennifer there? Nope. Jennifer got a promotion. What does she do now? She is the salesman for the whole convention space in the front office of the. I'm like, damn, I can't call her and tell her she's pretty anymore and get a room when everybody's sold out.
You're right.
Glad you moved up in the world, girl. Glad I got you there with my high ratings and all that. But you're not really doing much good from there. But I've really enjoyed it. What do you think about the hotel facility there? That's one thing I wanted to ask you.
What do you mean?
Is it getting bigger? Have they expanded it yet?
No, they haven't bought it. They remodeled it, but it's quite nice now.
Is it quite nice? Somebody bought it from Holiday Inn. It's not a Holiday Inn anymore.
It is a Holiday Inn, but it's under their brand Even. EVEN.
Oh, okay. It's a new one. They a new rebranding.
Hard floors, and it's a nice place. They've done.
Oh, that's nice. Hard floors is nice. Wheelchair. It's as nice as Snake Road, I hear, this time of year.
Yeah, I don't even want to. Again, you street cred every.
It's perfectly fine. Okay, here's the thing. All right, I will admit right now, 2 hours and 26 minutes into this live feed, at the end of this live feed, because we are going to call it because we're both tired. That in my defense, I was an internet herper. I was never a go outside and catch it kid. I grew up in the 90s. I graduated high school in the late 90s. I used porn throughout most of my high school life to stay single. Okay. Didn't pay for it. It was free. It was accessible. The 90s. When you could just go on the internet and be like, oh, look, I'm on the Alterna page.
Oh, God.
Right? Do you know it's still up, right? It's still up. The Alterna page is still up. We found it on this show and we looked at it and it's still viable. Jeff keeps it alive. The Alterna page. And we got to say, oh man, if I go all the way to Sanderson Road in Terra Lingua, Texas, or wherever the fuck, right? Wherever it is. If I go to Highway 377 and I'm there at the right time, in the right day, in the right weather, with the right rain, I could see this snake, or I could sit my ass at home and see 30 of them from all over Texas and exactly understand gray banded king snakes. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I would have loved to have catched them.
Fair enough. You're still responsible for pop culture.
Okay. Snake Road. You say Snake Road, I'm going to say Tail of the Dragon because
I got to go to dinner.
Yeah. Oh, shit. You got to go to dinner.
I haven't eaten.
That. Oh, I didn't know you didn't eat. I told you it was going to be a couple of hours, but yeah, let's get out of here because it's actually been 2 hours and 47 minutes since we started recording. So I'm going to say thank you, sir. I appreciate you very much. I'm sure you're itching now. Now Chris Eaton can say, somebody said he was tired of Sean because I could talk to you all night. Thank you very much. I really could. You really are that huge, bro. I hope this opens doors up for you to do more shows where people can hit on it more. I hope that
really want to do shows.
I know you don't, not the little ones, but if the whole back rack asks you, do it so you can answer those hard questions because I think it really does count to one person in the world, and she's a host of that podcast. Only one person in the world cares about it. But look, I'm going to let you go.
All right, buddy.
I'll close it out later with these folks. But thank you so much for being here, man. Go eat dinner. Go eat dinner.
Yeah. Take care, man.
Thanks. I'll see you maybe February.
I would love that.
Yes. Maybe in Arlington. Okay. All right. Good night. Yeah, dude, that was it. You want to talk about a guy itching to leave? I get it. He needed to get the fuck out of here then. We could just keep going and going. I really didn't realize how far we were into it until a few minutes ago. And I was like, ooh. I told him it was going to be 2 hours, and we're like almost 3. Okay, guys, that deserved that. Okay. You got to just be like, fuck, I'm leaving. When are we doing this? I'm leaving. So you can say this one was great. I appreciate it. You both killed it. Thank you, Jonathan Sell. I'll still never have a great name like Sell Reptiles. Great show. Todd is a treasure, man. Not enough people know who this guy is. So you guys go share the shit out of this. And I hope the fuck you guys all enjoyed it as much as I did. This, I'll say this, Marino, great live. Things like this, dealing with a tier 1, talking to a tier 1, having a friendship with a tier 1. I mean, you understand that would literally be like if we were in automotive that we reached out to fucking Elon and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he came on and he gave me 3 hours when I told him 2 hours and 45 minutes when I told him to. So I appreciate that, Todd. I totally deserve that. Thanks a lot, guys. Come see us on Friday when Granddaddy Herps, Anthony Zavala, joins me at 8 p.m. I know all you did was add reptiles to your full name. Yeah. Who didn't know that? I know your last name is Sell. I know that. I've known you for a long time, bro. I never forget you. Thanks a lot, Aaron. Appreciate you always pumping it up. I'll go ahead and spend out another couple of minutes while you guys just dial out of the fucking thing. Anybody else got anything else to say? Anything else to do? This is really my biggest blowout for the end of the year. I don't know that I can get on anyone else. I did have an opportunity to have a huge guest on next week in place of this Friday in place of Anthony, but I had already committed to Anthony, so I did not bother pursuing that giant guest. But that giant guest will be back on sometime after the new year. They're foreign anyway, so who fucking wants to listen to all the language barrier? I'm going to pull this back up one more time. Go to Timberline Fresh. Hang on, I'm getting something to drink. All right. Go to timberlinefresh.com. Check out our boy Todd. Help him help us all. It's an absolutely tremendous company. The website is a plethora of information about everything that they do. They have some videos on there. They have all of the knowledge base that you need. I mean, basically, he doesn't need to come on a podcast to tell anybody anything about anything. But man, God, what a great dude. What a great guy. Do I know Joe Fossey? I do know Joe Fossey. That's not how he spells his last name. It's F-A-U-C-I. And yes, many people have asked me to have him on, and that is true. Didn't I say I was going to have DJ on? Yeah, DJ is waiting in my WhatsApp. New year, guys. New year. I do 2 shows a week. I'm not going to do more than 2 shows a week. I definitely want to continue to roll with this and bring you guys outstanding reptile YouTube stuff. I'm sure he has stories for days because he's been around the block. DJ from South Africa. Oh, I ran into Jeff Doth today. This weekend in Slidell, Louisiana at the Slidell Herp's show, and Jeff Doth is a twice convicted animal smuggler that will be coming on the Off Topic Tuesday to talk about his 30-something trips to Africa. And he just posted on Facebook the other day. I'm looking through my Facebook and I see Jeff Doth post, "It ain't all that bad here. I really don't see what all the hype is." And there were him and my other buddy Mac were in the Congo. I'm not racist, but these guys are white as fuck. And I hear the Congo is a very awful, awful, awful place. Dangerous, violent. He says, my friend, who's my exporter in Tanzania or whatever, when we asked him what it would take to go into the Congo, he said, "Dude, you need to hire yourselves armed guards to go everywhere with you, everywhere you go." So he just cashed in a bunch of money and got a bunch of small bills so he could bribe his way through the Congo. And they just said, fuck it. And they didn't hire anybody to protect them. They just went right along about their business in the fucking Congo. I think that's worth hearing. I don't think Dave Kaufman's been in the Congo. Calling out Dave. Bring us a video from the Congo, dude. I mean, tell me it's not that bad. I mean, they were just like, dude, it's not that bad. It's really not. And I asked Mac, I said, what did they think of you? Okay, you see how white I am? Imagine Mac. This white. Imagine him swole up bodybuilder like he just got out of prison. And then imagine him with such high blood pressure that he looks like a fucking tomato. He said everywhere they went, the kids would run away from him. And that he thought it was like Ace Ventura, and they kept calling him Red Devil. That shit sounds hilarious to hear about. And, you know, Jeff's been 37 times. Mac's never been once. Mac said, hey, pull over here. Dave had security. Dave had security in fucking Ghana. And my boy didn't have security in the Congo. I'm sorry. Oh, Dave, don't make me call you a pussy. Oh, man, no, I agree. I mean, you're in unfamiliar territory and you're going to go there and like go in every facet of something. And maybe it's not a bad idea. But these dudes, you know, one of my friends was standing there and she's a tech at LSU in the animal department. She takes care of all the research animals at LSU. She's like, they walked off and she's like, what the fuck did those guys do? And I was like, yeah, they're smugglers. And she's like, oh, that explains a lot. I was like, why? You were wondering why two white guys were in the fucking Congo? They were there just to see what the weather was like. I was like, I would imagine there was some shit going on down there that they got, you know. And Jeff's great story was, I said, will you be this candid on Ballsh if you do the Off Topic Tuesday show? Will you be this candid that we can talk about smuggling and all that kind of shit? And he's like, yeah, probably. I'll probably be that candid. You know, and he said, you do know I was convicted twice, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, you know, the second time the girl's like, now, you know, are you going to do this again? And he said, I promise you, I will never get caught doing this again. And the woman got really pissed off. She said, what did you just say? And he's like, no, I promise you, I will do every single thing within my power. I will absolutely do everything I can to not get caught doing this again. And that shit right there, dude, I think that shit is ready for Ballsh. Are you ready for a fucking real animal mover to come over and chitty chat? Maybe get on a watch list. I don't know. He might get all clammed up after I've done all this big lead in, but I was super excited to see his goofy looking ass in Slidell. And why the fuck are you here? Oh, I just got back from Africa with this guy. I didn't know that he went with him, but yeah, that's it, man. They definitely are, crazy fucking guys. And I agree, River Rat, fucking nutcase. Yeah, that was a wild trip. But that, I think Jeff said he's been to Africa about 37 times. Stefan's been over 50 times. So both of them will be on the show. And I think it will be great. I mean, you're talking about like what he said. He's like, do you know what I got caught with the second time? He's like, what? Green tree pythons in my pockets. And the week before I went through there with 5 lorikeets and star tortoises. And he keeps going and going and going. going and going. But you guys got to realize a lot of like Australian stuff, a lot of endangered stuff and things like that. You wouldn't have that stuff in the hobby if it wasn't for guys like that moving it for people that have way more money than me to buy it. So anybody listening to this that wants to come check out EBN, come on, check it out. Everything here is captive bred, morphed up. I don't have anything weird. I don't have any crazy imported bearded dragons or blue tongue skinks or shinglebacks or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like, how do you think some of that shit gets there? That's it. I don't think we talked about Shinosaurus earlier in this show. I'm not sure the guy bought the Shinosaurus from me for the lizards or for the receipt, because I bought from the final legal importation of captive bred Shinosaurus crocodiliurus. So it's like, whoa, like one of my friends told me that, like, that receipt is worth more than those lizards are, because that receipt will be good for lizards after those lizards are dead. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think the guy was so adamant about me having that CITES document. And I'm like, oh, so now it doesn't make. So he legitimized all of his, if he had like 8 or 10 of them. If they weren't legit, he legitimized them all by buying mine and getting a paper. I guess that's how it was explained to me. It's kind of funny, but yeah, Lindsay came in, ass end of the show. It's fine. Hi guys, just got here. Clear. I'm gonna get some of those later on. Yeah, Lindsay, we went on for 2 hours and 47 minutes, and Todd had to just peace out. It's fine. Like, I kept going, and I was just too excited. It's fine. We got so much material. I don't ever need to have him back on here again, other than to just be fun. Maybe I'll have him on a panel one day. I think that'll be fun. That'll be great to have a guy like Todd on a panel. Maybe we can get a few tier ones on a panel. Todd, maybe Kim Bell, something like that, you know. And you guys with the ball python chat in the sidebar, I guess we really need to have some ball python talk on this here Bullshit podcast, huh? So Anthony Zavala, you're up on Friday, bro. You're up to talk ball pythons on Bullshit and keep it in the ball python wheelhouse. And hopefully that'll do it. What did Holdback Rack said? Blah, 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 blah. Make sure you ask Granddaddy Herps about giving snakes back their legs YouTube video. Giving snakes back their legs. Is this the genetic research on the University of Florida hindering the gene that developed that keeps snakes' back legs from growing? Am I right or am I wrong? You're going to correct me. I know you are. Future co-host of the ABCs of Ball Pythons. How was the market at the show this weekend, Sean? Okay. Corn steaks didn't do all that well. They did okay. Had an hour and a half power outage on Saturday. Did fuck business up. Corns didn't move all that great. End of the show. Sean had the mic and he was wishing everybody a happy Christmas and a Merry Thanksgiving or whatever. Merry New Year. And I asked him to please tell the room on the microphone that I was, it was a viral video. Okay, please do. I can send you a link. Yeah, send me a link. It'll be great. Lieutenant Dan Snakes. Yeah, that's fucking great. Kim is awesome. Kim is great. Everybody's like, Mark Pell. I honestly think Kim would be better, Jonathan. I'm with you. I would love to see her on, and I think she would do the show. I think she would love the show, and her and I have really good banter. Like, we talk really well. I like Kim a lot. She's a superstar. She's a fucking superstar. So, yeah. Yep. All right, guys. What else was it? Yeah, so that's what I did. I had Sean at the end of the show make an announcement that all of the deli cupped animals on my table were 60% off at the very last, like, as the show was closing, the last moment. And everybody was like, bro, what the fuck happened at Sean's table? And they're like, you didn't hear the announcement? He just told everybody 60% off every deli cupped animal on the table. We had over 200 deli cups on the table. And anybody in pyros, anybody looking for some badass pyros? One of my buddies wholesaled me an entire clutch of Mount Kit, St. Kit, Arizona Mountain King, very, very, very pure, locality specific Arizona Mountain King snakes. They're F1s from Wild Caught. So if anybody's looking for an outstanding opportunity in a tricolor that's not hard to feed and all that, then we'll get there. What's up with those bullshit shirts? It's coming, bro. It's coming. I was waiting. I'm not just going to jump on all of this all the time, because then it makes me do more work. The more work I do with things like t-shirts, the more money I make. I realize that, and I want to make that money. So I want to get an extra helper over here to help me monetize some more on merchandising, because I can make my own cups for you guys. I can make badass bottle openers. I can do all that shit. But you're going to hate me if it doesn't get done fast enough and it doesn't get shipped out in a proper amount of time. So I'm really trying to figure it out right now. I have ads out for people for help. I'm trying to find it. Grace is taking another job because she's kind of burned out. So she's just kind of doing 20 to 25 hours a week here. And I'm fine with that. It takes a lot of pressure off me financially, but it does not help me when it comes to manpower. And right now I'm currently living 21 miles away from this facility. You know, oh, River Rat, are you that big? How big are you, bro? How fucking big are you? Are you huge? Are you a 5XLer? If you're a 5XLer, I got a fucking bed sheet for you. Hang on. Play the music.
That's bullshit.
Oh, fuck. You're a 2XL? It was a wasted trip. Fucking knucklehead. 2XL was a wasted trip. Yeah, you know what? Look. Fucking. Bitch is big. What is this? Fucking 5X? Covered in shit. 3X. That's just a 3X. It looked big. Thought I had a 5X in there. And you use a 3X? Who needs a classic vintage 3X? If you need a classic vintage 3X, fucking... No, that's not that big, bro. I had a 5X. I have a 5X somewhere. I know I do. Richard was a 5X. Was. I think he shrunk a little bit, which is great. But speaking of, let me thank them real quick. Patreon guys, real fast. I'm going to run through you guys. McGrail Morphs, thanks a lot. Stone Age, very much thanks. Very much thanks. I try to help you guys out as much as I can. Chris Dinkins, Sam Hager, and Richard Clay, Crowell, badass motherfuckers. The very few people that are on the Bullshit Patreon. Why? Because I don't really give y'all anything. I don't really give you anything other than this every week. So if you really love me and you want me to keep doing this, then just go give me at least $2. If 100 people gave me $2 fucking, it would mean nothing to that 100 people individually, but it means $200 a month to me and my family. So just think about it for a minute. Do I really have to give you content? Are you really going to watch it? Right? I mean, how about this? How many of you motherfuckers are OnlyFans subscribers that just forget to check on your bitches? Or like you don't get texts because your wife doesn't know you paid for an OnlyFans page. Like really, it's the same as OnlyFans. Like it's not any different. It's really not. Paywalling material and OnlyFans is no different. Like it's only good when you actually check it and look at it. So why don't we do this? Why don't we pretend I'm paywalling and you pretend you're too busy to watch it and you just give me $1.99 a month, right? I mean, is that really putting, I mean, look, I stuck my hand out in 2015 or whenever it was with a Patreon page and stuck my fucking balls out on a chopping block for people to make fun of me for sticking my hand out. Now everyone has a Patreon page and they're hostage taking the quality and the information and making you pay for it. And I'm not doing that. So please make this this is my PSA. I saved it till the end of the show and my guest fucking ran away. You know, now everybody can be like, did you see Todd Goodman run from Sean? Bro, he did 15 minutes with fucking Cusco. We did 2 hours and 47. That's a fucking score. It's a giant fucking win. So I don't care about that. It's obviously on my mind now. I can sport 5XL. What? If you pinch it in the back and sew it up, man, you're not that big. I just got off the phone with you the other day. You're not small, but you're not that big. You know, I mean, it's all good. You know, what's OnlyFans? That's hilarious. What's OnlyFans? That's what I'm saying, Mike. OnlyFans is a place where the rest of us men go and post pictures like that one you posted earlier. You know, everybody's going to be like, man, I want to see that picture. Where's Mike at with that photo of him and them tidy whities or whatever was underneath? Well, I don't know all of that. Let me see here. Can we pull it up? Can we pull it up? Can I drag this screen over here? And where is that photo, Mike? Is it on Instagram too, Mike? Great fucking picture of you, bro. I need to get off this podcast because it's just costing me money to upload it. I had 3 hours, but let's just fuck it. It's 3 hours now. I'm going to stop it in just a minute. Where is Mike's monitors? God, I hate using Facebook like this. I'm so used to it being on my phone and trying to use it on a desktop and find shit. Michael Stefani. I got to remember you're not Mike. Even though everybody says Mike and you use the name Michael. You know? Fuck, where's that picture at, Mike? Is it on Facebook? Yeah, it's on Facebook. Look at these enclosures this dude does. It's really always great. Look at a Diamondback. Sweet. Did I roll past it? Jeez, you post that fucking much? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you fucking do. Jesus Christ. Look at him now. Look at that beard. Look at that bearded beauty with his skull in there. Scary. You're the guy you think of when you think of reptile people, Mike. What am I doing wrong? Is it that long ago? I must have rolled past it 4 days ago. Jesus, dude. I don't post enough. You and Luke are like fucking post whores. I'm done. I'm done promoting you post whores. I got to go post whore some myself. All right. All right. Now they're sharing measurements. We got to go before the ladies feel the pressure and they start bouncing. I don't want Lindsay and holdbacks and all of them just to never come back because we started talking about sizings and stuff. So you guys have a good evening. Thank you a lot for coming in tonight. The 30-something of you that were here, I'm very proud of you. Yeah, it's BALLSHT. Look at it. It's patreon.com. It's on the bottom. It's right down there in the corner, right there. Wherever. Right there. BALLSHT. And that's you. Good night, Holdback Podcast. Let's talk, Jessica. Let's talk about ABCs. I'd like to do something like at the new year and just push it out and just roll with it. We don't get to start with the J&J Royals now. We get to start with, which is good for the J&J Royals because the J&J Royals was kind of being a pussy about it at times. When he said, "Oh no, I have to do the first one. I have to be the first guest. I have to be first," and I'm like, yeah. And yeah, measurements, indeed, hashtag hung like a can of tuna fish. I see him say that all the time. You and fucking Asher back and forth with your bullshit as all day laughs. If I worked in a mechanic shop, I couldn't imagine just the humor I'd have like I get when I watch Mike's monitors, Michael Stefani and Asher Green carry on all fucking day on Facebook about their man meets and all those types of things. So definitely. Check with me on Friday. Let's see what Anthony's got to say. Anthony Zavala, Granddaddy Herb's coming Friday. Next Tuesday, I don't have a show planned yet. Friday after. That's the Friday before Christmas Day, right? Lone Star. The Joneses. And I got to do their album art. And it's very interesting because it is like paintings of them both. It's very interesting. Look at that. There's Earl. There's Earl. Well, I'm gonna call him something none of y'all call him. I'm gonna call him Earline. Because I got another friend named Earl. And I always joke about him too and call him Earline. So there's Earline. And there's Mama Wren. That's a great picture of you, Wren. Whoever did that did a great fucking job. So this power couple of Texas reptiles that a lot of you have come to know as being giant boosters in Texas for USARK and good friends to me, man. I'm telling you, that is a warm fucking friendship that I have with those two. And I can't wait to have them on this show next week. And no, he's not still watching. When he said go, he fucking left. And I have no doubt in the world that he did. I 100% appreciate every second he spent with us tonight. He was even early to the audio, so we got like almost 20 minutes, 25 minutes of audio with him prior, so we didn't even need to get an ass audio. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out. I'll see you Friday, Wednesday, Friday. What? Yeah, and then we got to figure out a day of the week we're doing ABCs, Jessica, so start thinking about it. Wednesdays are good for me. After the first of the year, if I'm living in this building half the week, then I will be easily accessible for a podcast in the earlier afternoon or maybe 5, 6, 7 range. So yeah, let's talk. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good night. And I will see you later. All right. Thank you. I'm so happy about this. Bye.